Fan Club Friday, 3 hours from now to get into Big 12 tournament going on next week for the men. The women are already playing. We've got tomorrow, the KC Current have their opener coming up as well. We've got World Cup to talk about. Chiefs, of course, the trade with McDuffie with Harold to discuss. And then Monday, the league year gets going. One of the best weeks of the sports calendar, honestly. I know games aren't happening, but when you get all the movement in the NFL and free agent spending and see what it really means for the 2026 season. So that's coming up in just a bit. We also are going to have Eric Hosmer joining us in about 30 minutes. So looking forward to that. More details on that in just a couple of minutes. But looking forward to having Haas on at 10:30.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. And looking forward to, Royals, NFL, college basketball, college football. We got all kinds of stuff today. It's a varied show, I would say. Plus, we're not going to make Harold Kuntz, the other professor, sit through a Professor Tab segment.
What if we had him do a...
Professor Harold?
Uh-huh.
What's he going to teach us about today?
Better than what your lesson was,
You didn't like my lesson this week?
I already forgot it. I didn't do the homework.
What was your favorite lesson I've done so far?
I don't know. The homework did not happen.
Did you do the homework, Drew?
No, I don't think Drew did your homework assignment either.
Yeah, so I did technically. I did technically, but I didn't.
Oh.
I didn't watch any YouTube shorts at all yesterday. I watched none.
I didn't do any of that.
My count would be 0.
Same.
Ooh. Okay. All right. You're saying you watched 0 social. Did you scroll on Twitter? Did you hit social media?
I did not. Actually, I guess I wasn't on much last night. That's good. I wasn't on much because you were telling me something like, "Did I see this?" I'm like, "No, I didn't see that."
I didn't see it either until Drew said this morning. I was guffawed that Daniil Hunter got $40 million from the Texans for a 1-year deal. I thought Drew was making numbers up. They're paying Daniil Hunter $40 million
the 1-year extension
for a single year.
He had 15 and a half sacks.
I know, man.
So that happened last night as well. Yeah. So that I guess I wasn't on social media as much yesterday for whatever reason. I don't know why. That's fine. That's good.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it was surprising, but either way.
You guys can watch the show on YouTube, Twitch, and X, Facebook. Check it out on our video stream. And, of course, the Jay's Southland Tow Service text line is always open, 913-586-7965. Let's start with the NFL a little bit and Patrick Mahomes. And this kind of came to light because you probably saw the tweet from maybe Warren Sharp, and he was going through wide receiver rooms and how much money is being spent. And we'll go through that a little bit later. But it's always this idea of like, hey, how much help does this quarterback need? Or Mahomes needs help, or Josh Allen needs help, and Joe Burrow needs help, or whatever it might be. Every fan base has had that discussion. And so to this point in time, knowing what the wide receiver room is, and even up to this point, we know they've got the 3 rings. How good of a job do you think they have done to this point of giving Mahomes that help? And do you think it has to change this offseason? I think we're already going to start to see a shift. I actually believe the Trent McDuffie trade likely means they are willing to shift to a little bit more on the offensive side of the ball and building the team that way. We'll see what they do with the picks. But if you tell me next week to predict one of the first signings the Chiefs are going to make, I think it's going to be on the offense for a running back.
So I don't disagree with the idea that they're getting ready to hopefully ratchet this up a notch. But if you made me give an answer to before versus what we can talk about here in just a second, which is what they're doing now, medium, it's not Aaron Rodgers level of the time he was in Green Bay and they made legitimately maybe 0 effort ever, as in they never signed a free agent. They never spent a first-round pick. They didn't do it. They've spent multiple second-round picks. McCardman, Sky Moore, and Rashee Rice, all in the second round. They've spent a first-round pick in Xavier Worthy. They've obviously occasionally brought in a free agent signing like Juju Smith-Schuster or Hollywood Brown. But it's all like, to me, I wouldn't call it half measure, but like medium options, right? They have never gone, and they drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the first round. So I certainly can't say that they've done nothing. Now, I'd say some of those plans just didn't work versus what we were just talking about, which is, are they attempting to do everything for Mahomes? That's a different conversation. I would say that they are somewhere in the top, probably 10 to 12 range of efforts to give their quarterback the most to operate with probably the other teams ahead of them being teams who have to do more to help their quarterback in order to succeed. But like I look at it from the other elite guys, I think the Ravens have tried harder. The Derrick Henry thing, the way that they've splashed around in their picks, the free agency money they've done. Joe Burrow, they've obviously given Jamar Chase a huge contract, spent a top 10 pick in the NFL draft, giving another second-round pick, giving him a huge contract. Like they have put, I think, more effort every day into giving him more than they have for Mahomes. So I would like an uptick. Starting now, because he's on not the twilight, but the back half of his career, I think it's time to up the ante.
Well, I think it's the perfect offseason to do it because he's coming off the ACL injury. That's why I think there's more of an emphasis to do it. You've got to, make sure he's protected coming off the injury, but also, make life a little bit easier. And part of that is going back to the whole running back conversation. And again, I think we will see them take care of that this offseason directly through free agency. Doesn't mean they won't draft one as well, but I believe that's going to happen. Wide receiver-wise is where it's interesting because we've gone through the free agents, and I don't think they're in the Alec Pierce market. I think he ends up in New England or somewhere like that. We've talked about Romeo Doubs. Maybe he's a fit. Mike Evans, maybe he's a fit. Could they spend pick 9 on a wide receiver? For sure. Is it more likely they spend pick 29 and or 40 on one? I would say so. But that might be how they address wide receiver. But I think you're going to see a majority of their resources go on offense. That does not mean that they will not address the defensive line. I think they have to. But I think you're going to see more of the news, the headliners be on the offensive side of the ball, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. But it's such a weird mix because, again, I don't think they've done nothing. I think sometimes fans, because they're frustrated with where the offense has been lately, are pretending like that they have done nothing for Patrick Mahomes in order to make him successful. They have the highest paid offensive, for a while, they had the highest paid offensive line in football. They don't have the highest paid offensive line in football, but they do have the highest paid center and guard. They have a first-round pick at left tackle, a second-round pick at left guard, and I don't know, we'll see at right tackle, but they spent free agency money on that, plus all the wide receivers I mentioned. 3 second-round picks, a
first-round
pick at wide receiver. Yeah. Now, they haven't invested in tight end, but they also had Travis Kelce, so they didn't have to do that. Maybe this will be the year, or next year will be the year that they go after someone like Kenyon Sadiq or one of the other available options. And so there are things that they've done consistently to try to make an effort. I just think, like we said, they have to take it up a notch. I just think moving forward, like you said, coming off the injury, you can build you can build his next version of Patrick Mahomes and what the offense looks like off of the back of this one. Yeah, let's take it up. Let's go to another level, as it will, over the next few years.
Yeah, but what does that look like, though? Because I think to your point, though,
a real running back for starters.
But you could even argue, I think, to a certain extent, that the Chiefs have spent as much on help for Patrick Mahomes as some of the other teams, like the Buffalo Bills, have. Where,
like I said, 10 to 12 range. I think.
Yeah, but because I think that there's the thing that I would be worried about is they've spent the resources as you just laid out, but it doesn't look like it's actually helping anything. And
they got 3 rings, so yes, it has.
No, I'm not talking about from them winning a ring. Otherwise,
well, that's the goal, right?
Otherwise, you can just mention the whole defense thing because Patrick Mahomes has a ton of help on defense.
Sure,
I think you can argue that exact same thing.
You were starting to say though that it hasn't worked out for them
in terms of how it looks on offense. It looks like it's open heart surgery for them at times. It is extremely difficult. That doesn't mean that they haven't won. If we're having an offensive conversation, correct? We're having a defensive conversation.
We're having an offensive conversation, but also again saying that it hasn't worked though is what I'm having an issue with.
If we're going to talk about it whether it has or has not worked yet on offense, it really hasn't worked over the last couple of years.
Agreed.
From a team standpoint, it has because they have drafted extremely well on defense. They've developed well on defense, and offense it just hasn't happened yet. I think that two things can both be read at the same time in the sense that, from a team perspective, they have helped Patrick Mahomes a ton because they've built a regularly top 5 defense that has been the main reason that they've won the Super Bowls that they have, and Mahomes making crazy plays. If we're talking offense alone, I can understand why you would say they actually haven't done enough along the lines of what the Bills are doing, along the lines of what the Ravens have done, and to an extent, the Bills are you wanting them to do full Bills and just say, you know what, we're willing to trade whatever it takes to get A.J. Brown, because at this point, Xavier Worthy hasn't worked to the extent that we'd like, and Rashee Rice, we don't know if is going to be on this team after this year, and Travis Kelce is going to be gone. Is that where you're going with this, Cody, that they need to be dire in a sense, the way the Buffalo Bills are, to give Patrick Mahomes some
dire's different,
reliable enough weapon?
Being desperate is how you get yourself in trouble.
It's just investment. So. I think that they could up the investment over the next couple of years versus what they've done offensively, because the truth is,
it feels like they have invested, though, for all the reasons that you said.
I think that they've done some, I think that there is another level. I think that in the wide receiver department, that's where they've tried the hardest because of second-round picks. But let's admit that in the free agency pool and in the running back pool, they've been bargain bin shopping. Their ass is at Aldi, and I shop at Aldi, so take this as no disrespect. They've been seventh round running back, guy off the street running back, 1 year for Juju, 1 year for Hollywood.
But is that the only position? Because they've invested first round picks and second round picks, premium picks at wide receiver and offensive line. So it's not like they haven't done anything.
Yeah, so I would agree. Again, that's my whole this. What have they done to build the offense? They have whiffed on draft picks, so that's why it's perceived that they have not utilized resources there. They have not figured out left tackle until maybe now, and so they have spent a high second-round pick on Kingsley the year before. If he would have been the left tackle they thought he was, they would not have had to spend their first-round pick last year on Josh Simmons. Maybe they would have used that on a wide receiver. Maybe they would have used that on a running back. I don't know what they would have used the pick for, but that they've been forced for multiple years because of whiffs on the offensive line to allocate resources differently. I'm just saying, I think now that you're coming off an injury, a serious injury, and with where the league is trending, now more than ever, it is time to make sure at premium positions you're investing either free agent dollars or draft picks at those particular positions. I don't think they have done that necessarily. It is a shift. I still don't think they have mismanaged, though, how they have built the team for the last 5 years, because, again, they went to 3 straight Super Bowls. That's the only part I take issue with. But the idea of, now it's a new era and it's time to approach it differently, I think we're all on the same page.
I agree with the sense that, and that's why I was saying, I don't think they've done nothing to invest in Patrick Mahomes. I certainly think that they have made an effort to bring investment around him. All I'm saying is, things are changing, and now they're going to have to do that, but more is the truth. And look, last year I'd have to go back through their free agent signings, but Tyquan, Hollywood again, Juju again, right?
Christian Fulton,
Kareem Hunt. Christian Fulton was maybe the guy they gave the most money to out of the true free agents versus just paying George Karlaftis or paying some of these other guys. But if you go back through the draft, it is, sometimes it's offense, sometimes it's defense. It depends a little bit. Last year's first round pick was obviously on the offensive side of the football from a tackle perspective. I think a lot of this is, and some of this is right, the Texans right. Some of this is it's time to be in the get right business again. And when you spend a valued asset on a wide receiver that they give immediate gains. I am not giving up on Xavier Worthy, but so far, based on production versus the pick they gave up, they're not getting enough. They got to get more. That was a heavy investment in there, and because they spent a first-round pick and they haven't gotten enough out of it, at least up to this point. But last year, what did they end up going after? So they took Simmons, then they went Jelani and Norman Lott
then Jalen Royals in round 4.
Jalen Royals.
Rashard Smith round 7.
And then was it?
We're missing somebody.
Oh, no Williams.
No Williams, yeah.
So it was about a mixed, let's say. That's fair. It was a 50-50 draft after it was all said and done. We haven't even had that conversation yet. I remember I was doing that before the draft last year, which is, what would you like the split to be, because that's what we talk about when we talk investment. Let's say they sign 3 decently priced free agents. Mm-hmm. Do we want them to be 2 offense, 1 defense, 3 offense, 3 defense? What do we want the split to be, and what do we want the split in the draft to be?
See, I think you get yourself in trouble if you go into the draft and you say, all right, we've got to draft, we got 8 picks. We got to draft 4 defense, 3 defense or 5. I think you get yourself in trouble in that way. I think you know what your needs are, and it gets into the whole best player available stuff. I don't know if I would ever want my general manager going into a draft and saying, all right, no matter what, we're drafting 6 offensive players. That to me is a bad draft strategy or 6 defensive players. What you do have to kind of just see how a little bit of it plays out, and that's where the best player available stuff comes in. So we'll see. We'll get back into this as well a little bit later on. Again, in 15 minutes, we're expected to be joined by Eric Hosmer. Looking forward to having him on the show. It's been a while since we had him on. I know he's been on the station in the last year or so, but it's been a bit since we had him on the show, so definitely excited about that. We'll probably have to ask him about the WBC, which gets going for the U.S. later on tonight.
Right.
What, is it 7 o'clock tonight?
7 o'clock tonight against Brazil.
Bobby Wood Jr. leading off, which is obviously very cool to see, representing not only the United States, but representing the Royals. And Dusty texted me earlier in the week when he saw the lineup come out for Team USA, and he's like, Bobby's leading off, got a single. He's like, do you think he should be leading off for the Royals? And I was like, I get the argument. I'm comfortable with Maikel Garcia leading off. Where are you at? I mean, there's a lot of teams in baseball where Bobby Wood Jr. would undoubtedly be leading off. I think when you have a player like Maikel Garcia, I think you can absolutely have Bobby Wood Jr. batting second. And I think it's something that it would take Maikel Garcia struggling, and hopefully we're past that now, for them to make that shift.
So there's been a long-held rumor, I guess. I don't know that I've ever actually had it confirmed by Bobby, but in fairness, that he would prefer not to hit leadoff, that it's not his preferred location in the lineup to hit. So we'll see kind of whether or not that's true. Most teams in baseball, this is not an anti-Maikel Garcia thing. This is very simple. Bobby Wood Jr. is one of the 3 best players on the planet. I want him getting the maximum at-bats. The most.
Sure.
The most on the team. Is there a huge difference between what the guy hitting first and second get on a baseball team? Not a dramatic difference. There's not. It might only be 10 or 15 at-bats in a season, right? You got to get somebody around to 9. Bobby get the last at-bat of the game, whatever, right? It's not that many times over the course of a season. And so I'm not trying to pretend like, but if that one additional at-bat to win a game is either Maikel Garcia or Bobby Wood Jr. and it's their final at-bat, I want Bobby Wood Jr. doing it. If they're going to get to the top of the order because the bottom 7, 8, and 9 guys all walk, and we're going to get back to the top of the order, the guy who I want swinging the bat before Maikel Garcia is Bobby Wood Jr. I do think that if he found out that he liked it okay, he should seriously consider doing it for the Royals. It's not that they can't be successful without it, and he might not like it. But the best player on teams hits first because you want them getting the most.
Yeah, that happens all over baseball. I do think what Maikel Garcia did last year and what he's become as a player, and they're comfortable enough and confident enough with him that we all saw them give him a nice extension this offseason. I think if it wasn't for Maikel Garcia doing what he did, then I think you, to me, almost would be forced to make that, because Jonathan India is clearly not the leadoff hitter that we thought he was going to be when they acquired him a year ago. Maikel Garcia, and if we're being fair, he's looked great at leadoff. He's also struggled at times as a leadoff hitter.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's past the struggles there, and I think he is. So it would take Maikel slipping for me to be sitting here and pushing for that. But I also recognize if we were in another market and the lineup was a little bit different, a lot of teams would choose for Bobby to lead off. Again, Team USA is choosing for Bobby Wood Jr. to lead off with the ridiculous lineup that they have for the Team USA squad starting tonight.
In a weird way, like I think that's kind of like proving the point. And I understand that you're like, well, then isn't the best hitter Aaron Judge? And shouldn't he be leading off as a guy who hits 1 million home runs? But it's the same thing. It's like Bobby is a good home run hitter, but sometimes they like guys on base in front of those guys.
Maikel and Bobby getting on base. You know, the dream scenario, of course, is Maikel gets on base. He steals second. Bobby gets a base hit, and all of a sudden he has 1-0. You know, that's your dream scenario that's playing out in that way. And then Vinny's up next, or Salvi's up next, depending on how they want to do the line.
Yeah, and those guys are great. I mean, look, those guys are great run producers. So Bobby is too. I'm not saying it can't work. I'm just saying I would kick it around and figure out whether or not I thought that it was a fit. And look, again, I think that there's maybe a very small chance that would be the case. But it definitely made me think about it because he's leading off for him.
We can now mention it. The Royals just sent out the press release for it. So the Royals have announced that Eric Hosmer is going to join the Royals.TV broadcast team. He will be on the call for the first game of the year, opening night. And then also his first game will be next Friday. I'm sorry, I think I butchered that. His first game will be next Friday, March 13th, during the Royals broadcast versus the Diamondbacks at 8:05 Central Time. So he's now the second addition to the Royals.TV crew. We had Bridget Howard on earlier in the week. And we'll ask Eric Hosmer a little bit about this. I don't know if there's the full schedule yet of which games he's going to do, so my apologies. I think I misspoke on saying opening night, but he will certainly be on next Friday night for Royals TV during spring training.
I believe he is on opening night, or at least I thought
that's what I thought too. And then I read the press release, and it didn't
mention that.
It did not.
I do believe the article over. I think there's an article about it over on the Star, and I believe
that's what I thought as well. But then I wanted to backtrack because that didn't say in the press release, so I didn't want to.
You're like, you didn't want to speak out of turn. But I will say that's what I was told.
I'll tell you this: it's pretty cool to have Haas on the broadcast, though, man. The energy and perspective that he's going to bring throughout the baseball season, and we'll talk to him about it. Why he's getting into broadcasting? We know he's got the podcast thing that's been rolling for the last couple of years. He's beloved in Kansas City, so this seems like a great decision for everybody involved, and he'll join us in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting. The Royals broadcast crew, and this is like it's been the same for a number of years until Jake Eisenberg had gotten added a couple of years ago. And we love Jake. Obviously joins the show once a week during Royals season. But, like having I think he's an interesting perspective. Part of the reason for the conversation we had yesterday. You and I both said this is the most pressure this team has had since 2016. if there's a guy who understands like pressure as it relates to baseball in Kansas City, it is certainly Eric Hosmer, especially following that 2014 season. Plus, it seems pretty clear that he enjoys the broadcast element of it, has been working really hard on his podcast. So we'll see. I'm excited to see what he might bring to the broadcast, even though obviously I haven't seen him on a Royals broadcast before. Was he on one last year? Like briefly? Was he on just like a one-off or something?
I don't know if it was pregame. I think he did something on TV last year, but I'm not 100% on that.
Must have liked it enough to continue on the broadcast. But yeah, Eric Hosmer will be joining it. We'll see what he brings. Obviously, he's going to come join us at 10:30?
10 minutes.
10:30 for EH. Is that what he went by? Haas? He didn't go by EH.
Haas. Well, when did he ever go by EH?
I don't think so. I think like in the really early people
Haas.
tried to say it.
Yeah, come on now.
Was he your favorite Royal of that run? You got a moment of honesty.
Man.
Mine was Kane.
I mean, Lorenzo Kane was obviously the player that probably was most
during the run, because now Salvador Perez is going to be a lot of people's answer.
I mean, Haas was the fun player, right? He was the fun personality around Kansas City and everything, and so yeah, he was probably the one that was most enjoyable throughout that entire run. Now, as you said, as we've distanced ourselves, I think Lorenzo Kane, if you look at the talent on the roster and all of that and what Lorenzo Kane meant, you go back and see what his career was post leaving Kansas City as well. That's a different conversation.
He was my favorite at the time, for those teams. But, obviously we understand.
Dude, there were kids getting...
It was the Mahomes cut. I was trying to explain it to
the Haas cut at the time or whatever, but yeah.
I was trying to explain it to Drew because he obviously wasn't around in this time. I said, during that run, 13, 14, 15, I said he was a king in this town. Like, this was the pre-Mahomes era. He was the most well-known athlete actively playing for either team. Like, he was more well-known or more beloved than Travis Kelce at that time, than Alex Smith, who was the starting quarterback at the time. For any Chiefs player, any Royals player, more than Salvador Perez, which is hard to imagine now, of course, knowing how beloved Salvador Perez is. But during that time, he was kind of like a king in this town for a little while.
Someone texted and said they were 30 at the time and they still got the Haas cut as well. Yeah, I mean, this city was so starved for winning and for championship. And the 14 and 15, of course, are years that anybody that was around are never going to forget. And Hosmer was a huge, huge part of that. And so it's cool to see him still wanting to be involved with the Royals. And we're going to talk to him about that in just a little bit. You guys can interact, 913-586-7965. Up next, let's talk more Royals baseball. This year, talk about Eric Hosmer joining the broadcast crew for Royals TV for numerous games beginning next Friday night with the crew there. So we'll get into that next year on Cody and Gold.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Join Mark Patrick Hypnosis and stop smoking now without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Only $59.99 guaranteed. That's right. Don't just cut back. Stop smoking once and for all. Also, lose all the weight you want. Only $59.99 guaranteed with Mark Patrick Hypnosis. Let hypnosis destroy unwanted cravings, late day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating, and lose the weight. Weight loss hypnosis. Wednesday, April 1st at the Wingate by Wyndham, Kansas City. Formerly Sure Stay Plus by Best Western in Kansas City. 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis. 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-747-7676, 800-747-7676, Again, that's 800-747-7676.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FRESH to get an extra 35 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus.
J. Rieger & Co. Oh, so good. Quality crafted in Kansas City. J. Rieger & Co. Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Winner of Best Craft Bourbon at the 2025 Ascot Awards. At 90 proof, it's rich, well-balanced, and oh, so good. Quality crafted in Kansas City.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Mac Maury, and I wanted to let you know that I've started a new social media series called Mac's Minute. Real original, right? It gets released every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on our station's Instagram and Twitter accounts, plus YouTube Shorts. I'll give you my best take in 60 seconds on the biggest stories in sports and Kansas City. Make sure to follow on Instagram and Twitter, and subscribe on YouTube. Watch Mac's Minute every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on our social media platforms. This is Kansas City's FM sports station, 96.5 The Fan.
Go to 965thefan.com for your chance to win an X-Family instant ticket, plus a shot at winning 4 Diamond Club seats to the K, all powered by the Kansas Lottery. You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
All right, we're just getting started here on a Friday. Coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to be joined by World Series champion Eric Hosmer. The news in the last couple of minutes that he will be joining the Royals.TV broadcast team, and he'll serve as an analyst on Royals.TV. His first game going to be next Friday, a week from tonight, for a spring training broadcast. That's March 13th when the Royals take on the Diamondbacks, and he will be joining numerous broadcasts throughout the 2026 baseball season. So really excited to find out why he's joining the broadcast team, and did he get that itch to be part of it after doing some of the podcast stuff? And it'll be really cool to hear how he came to this decision and what fans can expect. Anytime players can get, especially for baseball, can get involved in the broadcast, I love it, that perspective, especially somebody that was part of the greatest 2-year run that we've seen in this city.
And again, understands like the nature of baseball in Kansas City and some of the dynamics. Hell, we could even ask him about if he wished the fences were moved in the entire time he was here.
Right.
He might have enjoyed that from a hitting perspective. But yeah, no, he's got a perspective that very few people can have, especially because he's played in this town and really not that long ago. Like a decade ago, he was playing in a World Series in this town. So like, I know a decade's a long time, but from a pantheon of all sports, it's certainly a different. He's not from a completely different era of Royals baseball, and I guess ownership's changed. But like for the most part, he understands the gig. So yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to him about what it's going to look like. What else was I gonna? I was going to ask him about. I've got an idea for an alt cast.
An alt cast?
Mm-hmm.
He's part of the. You're already trying to find another opportunity.
I think he might. I think it might work. You'll have to hear me out on this one. You're going to think I'm insane, but
are you trying to give yourself a job?
No.
Okay.
No.
Just making
That's
sure.
That's actually, that's a fair question.
I'm making sure.
It doesn't
I had to ask.
It doesn't have anything to do with me.
Okay.
Only for selfish watching reasons. That's it. Obviously, this will just be a Strength and Royals broadcast. By the way, Jake Eisenberg, Rex Hudler, the new Royals reporter Bridget Howard will all be a part of that team. So we should be good to go at least on that end. And then we'll talk more Royals baseball on the field a little bit later on. And, of course, more stuff with Harold Kuntz coming up in Fan Club. He's got a,
What's the cocktail today?
We're just going to do canned drinks today.
Okay.
Nothing. Keep it light. Maybe Hosmer can come in for a fan club.
Can I get like a spiked hot tea or something?
Yes, but hot toddy.
Perfect. Yeah.
Let's do a hot toddy. That's what you
that
do.
might be.
Damn, I should have thought that through. I should have done hot toddies for you.
I might need that today.
Can we ask, Jay Rieger, are you listening? Can we get some toddies delivered to the studio for poor Alex Gold? How's the voice coming along, man?
Man, it's been this way since Tuesday, or Monday afternoon. I've probably had 10 of these honey citrus mint teas trying to get the voice back. It works temporarily, and then it goes to you know what by the time we get to the 1 o'clock hour. So that's kind of where it's been. So I don't know. I just need to have a permanent honey citrus mint tea like
IV
thermos next to me for the voice or whatever. All right, let's go out to the phones though and welcome in the World Series champion Eric Hosmer, who has just announced that he's going to be part of the Royals.TV broadcast team beginning next Friday in spring training. Hos, great to have you on the show, man. How did you come to this decision that you wanted to get into the broadcast booth? I don't know. Did the wife kick you out of the house? What's going on?
What's up, guys? Yeah, I got 3 kids now, man. So I'm trying to find ways to get out of the house, and I think this was probably the easiest way for me to do that right now. But no, man, look, I wanted to stay involved in the game post-playing career somehow, some way, and at the same time, I wanted to be at home with my kids. Right when I got released there in Chicago in 2022 was right when Jack, my son, was born, my first child. So, he's 4 or 5 years old. I'm sitting there at the house, and I'm like, man, I want the best of both worlds. Like, I want to be here watching him grow up, but at the same time, I want to be involved in the game, and I want to stay involved in baseball. And it felt like, trying to go through the media side, doing the podcasting, being able to go out and stay in touch with guys, felt like it kept me in tune and kept me alive in the game. And as I was doing that, getting to talk with Sam, getting to, see the Royals as they're in Boston and out in the Northeast here where I'm staying, just kept the conversation going with those guys and kept dialogue with Sam Mellinger with Kansas City Royals and just telling him, hey, man, I'm really enjoying doing this. And, we ended up getting to the point where, hey, let's see if we can get in the game, call some games in the booth, get in the booth next year, and really just see if we can, cover the Royals baseball from any and all angles. And I think nowadays it's extremely possible with the capabilities we have,
What do you think about, I guess, like this idea of, like, you talk about your life stages, which I find interesting, going back to an organization that you started with when you were like a kid. I mean, you were 18 probably when you were drafted by the Royals, and now you're back doing work for the team.
Yeah, crazy, right? I mean, it's so the Kansas City Royals, man, it's truly family for me. That's the organization that raised me, so to speak, baseball terms, but at the same time in life, I signed there, like you said, 18 years old, played throughout my whole career there, and then end up, signing somewhere else after the fact. And my experience via free agency, my experience in San Diego was all things that kind of added to me wanting to get on the media side, player kind of driven media is what they said, right? And I felt like baseball was the last to that punch. And then now it just feels like, man, like watching the game as a fan these last couple of years, there's players out there that are doing some really, really great things. And I just look at some of these games and I'm like, man, I feel like some of these guys can be explaining a little bit better what these players are doing. And it just created a drive and it created a passion for me to get out there, tell these players stories. And now that's led to being able to call games in the booth, which I'm really excited about.
How much, I guess, does the podcast stuff really just like continue that? Like you did the podcast and then you're like, no, I want to be at a game. I guess what's that transition like versus the creative content side of it versus like a coverage of a game?
Yeah, just learning different formats of it. I think in the beginning, what I wanted to do media-wise has completely flipped to now. When I thought about it in the beginning, I was like, man, I really, like you said, with the podcast, want to tell player stories and get to know these guys off the field, which was great. I learned how to do that style of format. And then it was like, man, I never really thought commentating a game would be something I wanted to do. It just felt like it's 3 hours up there. It seems like it's a long time to be talking during the game and all that kind of stuff. And as I've gotten more and more reps and doing stuff with MLB Network, with doing stuff on set, pre and post game stuff, I understood and learned that, you're on the set for 3 minutes. You got 2 other people there that are talking about a subject and you want to kind of bounce off of what the other person is saying. So really you got this 3-minute segment and you basically got 30 seconds to explain what you're trying to explain in baseball terms or what you're trying to break down. So then it was like, man, I think I'd want like a longer platform or like a format with a longer time frame to be able to explain the game, whether it's instructional, whether it's a move happened off the field, whatever that is. And then it came to, well, commentating is that kind of time frame and that structure. And I got to do some different type of commentating, not in the booth at MLB Network, but it was that format that I'm like, man, I think this is the format that I really enjoy and that will give me the time to really just explain the game the way I want to explain it to fans.
We're talking to Eric Hosmer, of course, World Series champ, but also now a member of the Royals broadcast team, joining Royals.tv. You, of course, know what it takes to win a championship. You join this crew now, watching a team and covering a team that everybody's got a very, very high bar for. There's huge expectations once again for this team heading into the season. What do you see from these guys as you've been out maybe in spring training, or you certainly saw what they were able to do a couple of years ago when they made the postseason?
Yeah, that's part of this as well that makes it so exciting is they got a group now. They have a core group of players that, they've been there for 3-4 years now. Obviously, that's built around Bobby Witt Jr., and Salvi's been the captain there. He's been the, that catcher that's been there the last 15 years, cornerstone of the organization. So that's what makes this, super exciting as well, is they have the group of players that can be successful. They have the group that can win, and they got a little taste of that postseason a couple of years ago. And I think now, after last year, they consider a down year, not making the playoffs. It seems like this year there's going to be a lot of hungry guys on that roster. When you have the pitching staff that they have, anything is possible, and I truly mean that. And then when you break down the pitching staff, when you look at Cole Reagan's the ace, it's like, man, when you kind of start to break down his career and everything leading up to this season, it's like this is the year for him. I really feel confident about that because last year he had some injuries, didn't really pitch a full season. So now we go into this season. He's 3-4 years into his big league career, whatever it is. But it seems like after that last year, he's rested. Whatever the injuries were, he's over that. And he's, 97, 98 his outing last night. I don't care about the runs he gave up. But it seems like he's ready to go and be that ace and be that horse we need to lead the staff.
When you look at a guy like Jack Caglione, you came up and immediately were successful your rookie year. But then, like, the second year, maybe had some of those big league struggles. You worked with some guys like Moustakas who had to, slowly build his way up. What would you say to a young player or fans that are like, well, I don't know, I saw 60 games, it might not all click, versus, sometimes this takes time?
Yeah, you do know that takes time. And that's a great point because that's a great way to explain it to the fans is every career, every player is different how they come up. And, there's a huge difference that you really never experience as a player when you get that call up to the big leagues. I think the biggest surprise I had in my professional career was going up to the minor leagues and going to low A. And that was really the first time in the Midwest League that I'd ever struggled. And once you kind of overcome that struggle, so to speak, in baseball, it seems like, okay, maybe it's a week, it's a month, it's a season. And then once you overcome that, you feel like you're good. That was my struggle in baseball. I've overcame that. But when you get to the big leagues, it's like no other level because there is so much information, especially nowadays, that every single coach, every single person that is prepping the scouting report to get Cag out knows where he's vulnerable and know his weaknesses at the plate. So it's a situation where you have to truly prove that you can hit this or you can not be vulnerable in this location, or the league is going to continue to pound that spot. And that's really the biggest difference when you jump up to the big leagues. And certain players, it takes time for them to learn that. It takes time for them because these guys are stubborn. They're superstars. They just think internally like, hey, man, I've done this before. I know, when I got to college, it was a struggle. I got through that struggle, and I could be successful. The big leagues, it's really, really different because you got to put a lot of prep. You got to trust your coaches and the reports they're giving you. And then that's where you really got to understand how important that prep is before the game. You can't really just go out there and trust your talent.
Is it harder if the first time you struggles in the bigs? Like, Jack Caglione didn't really struggle at any other point, Hosmer, if that makes sense, right? He, tore through A, AA, and AAA.
Absolutely. And I think this is where him being on a roster with guys like Vinny, with guys like Bobby, guys that are established big league players now, they're going to be able to tell him, hey, man, Cags, listen, when I struggled in 2012, looking back on my season, I was in May hitting 220, with 6-7 home runs, whatever it was. I was in May. I'll never forget. I felt like my world was ending. I'd just gotten called into Ned's office, and Ned's like, hey, man, we're going to get it going here. Keep being confident and all that kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, man, my world's done. My season's over, and it's May 15th. We end up getting through that season. You end up realizing in September, hey, my average went from 230 to 250, whatever it is. I don't think that was numbers, but you get what I'm saying. You then realize as a player, oh, man, from May on, I had so much time, and there is so much at bats. There's so many games left in this season that I can be patient. I can slow things down. I don't need 3 hits tomorrow to save my season on May 16th. And I think that makes you realize as a player there's time. You can kind of let loose, settle. But at the same time, you got to realize there's urgency. So I think Cags having the benefit of being with these older veteran players, guys that have been proven and established, will help him. And they'll be able to be like, hey, Cags, just slow it down. Everything's going to be okay.
We're talking to Eric Hosmer here on 96.5 The Fan. He's joining the Royals.TV broadcast team. His first game and broadcast will be next Friday as the Royals take on the Diamondbacks. That's March the 13th. I know you never thought when you guys were winning a championship together in 2015 that we fast forward to 2026, you'd be an analyst on a broadcast calling a game with Salvador Perez still playing and you in the broadcast booth. So how's that dynamic working for you?
How about that, huh? That's a credit to Salvi, man. How about him and his career and to do it at a position like catcher that is so grueling on your body. And not only that, you know, people, not you guys, but around the world underestimate those summers in Kansas City and how hot and humid it could be out there. So it really is a credit to Salvi, his passion for the game, and how he's taken that passion off the field to get his body in shape, to get everything ready to roll, to have this career he's had has been unbelievable. And it's going to be special for me to see the, I'm not going to say last year or two, let's just say the back nine of his career in the booth.
I guess the most impressive thing to me is he has not grown tired of baseball. He loves it as much as when he was 20.
He really does. And you can see it. It's genuine. You can see every single game. I mean, last year I went out and saw the boys in September and I was in Boston. And I mean, you're at the dog days of the season and he's out there smiling. Can't wait to get out there batting practice. He truly does love the game.
I know that you guys just missed each other in the 2010-2011, but I have an idea. Since you're joining the Royals broadcast crew, I have an idea for an alt broadcast I want to get your opinion on, Haas, which is I just want an occasional alt broadcast where it's Zach Greinke talking about anything he feels like for 3 straight hours. It doesn't even have to be about the game. How do you think that would go over?
Oh, man, that would be great, man. That would be great. My first taste of Zach Greinke in the offseason, I joined a fantasy football league with him like 2-3 years ago. And it's a sleeper league, one of those leagues where you can kind of carry your players on to the next year, the next year, the next year.
Yeah.
And the first year of the league, we do the draft and Greinke ends up trading all of his best players and just gets like 9 first-round picks. So I'm like, what's this guy doing, man? This is awful. What ideas he do? Whatever. I mean, 2 years, 3 years down the road in this fantasy league, he's just completely dominating our league with every of the best player there is right now. So he knows what he's doing, and I'm with you, man. Zach's an interesting cat. I would love to hear that all cast.
I heard he's always offering trade offers at 2 in the morning and stuff. He's in deep.
He's dialed in. He's dialed in. He's got someone over there crunching numbers for him because he is always locked in.
Before we let you go, we're talking to Eric Hosmer. A lot of people are asking on the text line. Any idea how many games you're calling this year?
No, I think that's kind of subject to change. I know I'm going to start out, and we have our schedule for the first half of the season. The big thing is I want to, really, really be good at this. I want to, prep like if I'm a player. I want to continue to improve at this. And at the same time, I want the fans to enjoy it. If it's something where the fans can't stand me, I don't want to be up there for 100, 120 games throughout the year. I really want to, do this the right way. I want to come in there and learn. I've learned so much from Hud, Ryan, Joel, Monty, all the guys already through my playing days. So I'm going to be a sponge just trying to learn from those guys now in the broadcasting career. And, hopefully this is the first of many years that we can grow into bigger and bigger roles.
Congrats, man. I know Royals fans are excited for this starting next Friday on Royals TV.
Can't wait. Biggest game of the year next Friday, baby. Tune in.
There you go. That's Eric Hosmer with us here on 96.5 The Fan. Of course, 2015 World Series champ. And very, very cool that he's now going to be on a good amount of games, as he said, to be determined on the exact amount of games throughout the season on Royals.TV as an analyst starting next Friday. And you could probably just sense it hearing him talk about the game there. If you listen to his podcast, you probably already knew it. But even in the 8 to 10 minutes we just had him on,
he's very serious about being good at it.
Yeah, he's it's you and I have talked a ton about this. Whether it was Tom Brady going to the booth or whatever, there's certain athletes you can tell that they want to be just as dominant in the booth as they were on, in this case, the baseball field and baseball diamond. So I think he's going to crush it, and I think fans are going to love it. And if you have also a winning summer combined with that, it's going to be a really cool thing to watch play out.
To your point, it is weird to me, the person, Salvador Perez still catching for the Royals, Eric Hosmer in a booth talking about the Royals. There's something about that feels generationally wrong because Salvi was a part of that old crew. He's a part of the Kane, Hosmer, Escobar. He's a part of that group. HDH in my head, which feels decidedly different than the Bobby Witt Jr., Vinny Pasquantino, Michael Garcia, and yet there's Salvi in the middle of both because, I don't know, he doesn't seem like a guy who's ever going to want to walk away from the sport. And to this point, he's still performing like a guy who doesn't have to. So
yeah, and get to bring a fresh,
to play baseball,
fresh perspective too. You know, it wasn't that long ago that he played in the majors, and so it's going to be nice to have a fresh perspective on everything as well. And as we know, he knows a lot of the guys, and certainly knows Salvi extremely well. So next Friday, man, first one for Haas in the broadcast booth. Appreciate him calling into the show, and we'll talk more about that, I'm sure, with Harold Kuntz as well in the 1 o'clock hour during a little fan club Friday. Thinking of baseball and crossing over sports and different roles and things like that, Kyler Murray is no longer going to be the quarterback in Arizona, and naturally the conversation has started back up again. Like, hey, would he want to go back?
It's not working out as a quarterback.
Would he want to go to baseball? We all know the A's have his rights. They drafted him.
Yeah.
They have his rights. The A's GM said, they know where we're at. We're open if he ever wants to explore a return to baseball. It's a fun story to discuss, but look, he's going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL next year. So there's no going back to baseball for Kyler. He's going to start for somebody. I don't know if it's Minnesota. I don't know where it's going to be. But Kyler Murray is not at a point in his career where he's just no longer a starter. I think if you said, hey, nobody views him as a starter anymore, well, then I'd say, well, why not go give it a shot? You've made well over $100 million in your career. But he's going to start for somebody next year. So I don't buy the baseball thing despite being the 9th overall pick all the way back in 2018.
I know, but he was the 9th overall pick. He was a top 10 MLB draft pick. I'll say for selfish reasons, I wish he'd do it. I understand why. He doesn't want to, if you give up now, you're just going to go down as a bust. Not like a full bust, not like not Jamarcus Russell, Josh Rosen, right? You're not going to go down with that Ryan Leaf, but you're going to go down as you were a number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. And when times got tough and you weren't quite good enough, you gave up and you went back to pursue baseball instead. That will be the public adage around it. I just want to see it. He was the 9th overall pick in baseball for a reason. I want to know if you can be an elite enough athlete, Gold, that if you were that good at baseball, that you could just pick up a bat and be good. I just want to know, because for as much as the last, the Michael Jordan part of it, right? And a couple of other times when guys actually successfully did it, like Deion Sanders, or the very few examples of people playing multiple sports at the same time. People forget, and I'm not saying it went great for Michael Jordan, but towards the end, if you actually go back through and read about, he was getting better. Michael Jordan was getting better at baseball. He was slowly, but based on where it started, for a guy who had not played baseball since he was 17 years old, I don't care. Hitting 240 in Double-A is insane. That's a crazy thing to do.
Just remember, Kyler Murray has made $170 million.
So he's good. Just go play baseball and find out if you're any good.
Not if I can still be a starter. Now, if I play a year in Minnesota or Indy or the Jets or wherever you think he's going to go, the Jets to me are going to sign honestly, they're kind of still in a weird spot. I think the reports are that Frank Wright wants to sign Carson Wentz to be their starting quarterback next year, which is hilarious. But anyway, so I don't think Kyler's going to the Jets. But you go and you give it one more shot if you're Kyler somewhere else, change the scenery. Especially if it's Minnesota with Justin Jefferson and Kevin O'Connell. I think that could work out. And if you flame out after a year, then maybe you consider it just to say you gave it a shot and say you don't want to have any regrets and tried baseball. But I think we're years from that happening if it ever happens.
So he turns 29 in the fall.
Yeah.
Do you think he gets to the big leagues?
So first off, I think if he really went back to the A's and they were serious about it.
9th overall pick. Talent is there.
He's a fast track guy anyway, and they're more about style than substance right now anyway. I think he absolutely gets to the big leagues.
Because it's not like Russell Wilson. Because Russell Wilson was...
He hasn't played baseball in 7 years, or more than that.
Because Russell Wilson was
8 years.
Because Russell Wilson was the 23rd round or 33rd round or somthing like that when he was drafted?
Yeah, Kyler's a better player, but it's been so long.
He was evidently top 10 overall pick, as you said.
8 years, though. 8 years is such a different time.
I still think he'd be one of the better athletes in Major League Baseball. If you're the kind of athlete he is in the NFL.
Just athleticism, yes. But, we just get done. We just
got
done talking.
How quickly does it come back to you?
We just got done talking about how difficult the transition is from Double-A to Triple-A and Triple-A to the big leagues. And Cags was dominating Triple-A and in the minors, and then we all saw he struggled in the big leagues. Now you're telling me Kyler Murray is going to not play baseball for 8 years, go to Double-A and just crush it and get to the big leagues? Come on.
And in fairness, if you look at his high school stats, he wasn't kind of the high school player who hit most of those high school guys hit 450 with a 10,000, 2,000 OPS. He wasn't that. he was like a 350 hitter, which for high school's relatively low. But I don't know, man.
It'd be fun. He's got starting capability still, in my opinion, in the NFL.
He does. I think he's going to either end up. I think he's going to end up a Viking. The reports are he only wants to do with the Vikings or the Colts. Is that what the report said?
The report that I saw was that he's interested by those two openings.
Yeah, look, and he should be. Now there is just an updated name to the QB pool, although this quarterback should not be compared to Kyler. But it's now official that Geno Smith is going to get cut, barring some surprise trade. So you're going to have Geno, Kyler. And then everybody's waiting to see for sure what they do with Tua down in Miami, but he could be a post-June 1 cut. But the expectation, of course, is they're going to move on.
I saw the Niners asking for a first for Mac Jones, which is insane.
Well, they can ask for whatever they want. You know what I mean? Like they can ask for. They're not going to get a first-round pick, but why not? You can ask for it, and then you end up getting a second or a third.
I wouldn't even give up a second for Mac Jones.
I think a conditional second, he would have to hit a ton of benchmarks for it to become a second-round pick. He'd have to start in 17 games. He'd have to be a top 5.
Conditional. Yeah, I agree.
Otherwise, a third-round pick, yeah.
Yeah, it might not be 17 games, but 13 to 14. He'd have to be the starter the entire season in order for anybody to consider it. And also, no offense, there's actually no reason to trade for Mac Jones. If you want a Mac Jones-level starter, just go get Geno Smith. Go get Kyler Murray. Go get Daniel Jones and just steal him from the Colts. Like, there are other available options rather than doing business with the 49ers. You can wait a year on Mac Jones. It's actually not like a miserably bad free agent quarterback class. There are a number of options available to you. Like more, I'd say not more than normal, but like, I don't know.
I know. But we're still talking about Geno Smith and like Malik Willis. For his sake, I hope he's revitalized his career. But like, Malik Willis is about to be one of the top names that gets signed. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a great
thing than Mac Jones to me. I'd rather just give Malik Willis the money and find out.
Oh, see, I disagree.
Really?
Yeah, I don't want to pay Mac Jones. I can trade. Mac Jones making like $7 million this year.
But I can trade for him. I'm paying him, aren't I?
I don't. I long term eventually, but I technically don't have to when I trade for him. Sure. Malik Willis is going to get $35 or $40 million a year.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to get a lot of money, but that's what Mac Jones would get too. I mean, I
guess seen more from Mac Jones. Phil, and now the question is if you think it was just Kyle Shanahan. I don't know. Malik Willis, I'm not convinced that suddenly he's just figured it out.
Like career numbers for Mac Jones, 12,000 passing yards, 67 touchdowns, 50 interceptions. I got to say, is that like Malik Willis's are definitely worse, but are they way worse than that?
The Sam Darnold story is great.
Surely.
Every quarterback that sucks somewhere else is now not going to turn into Sam Darnold.
That's why I'm saying I wouldn't trade for Mac Jones. I'd just go with Kyler Murray or one of the other guys in the market.
But Malik Willis is the same scenario.
Oh, yeah.
He failed as a starter. He's no different.
No. My whole thing is, thing is, one, he played way less than Mac Jones in his career. You remember he only made like less than a dozen starts, like maybe a season in Tennessee, and then was just a backup and played maybe 5 or 6 games or whatever the hell it was with Green Bay. But like this goes back to like you and I talking about like running back or whatever. This is just I'd pay Malik Willis or I'd pay Kyler Murray, I'd pay Daniel before I give up a pick. Before I'm giving up a pick, a second round pick.
Quarterback's a little different than running back for me. That's all.
Yeah.
But I hear you.
I don't feel like I believe in enough of those guys at all in order to be, it'd have to be like a sure thing.
And Aaron Rodgers the other day was on McAfee, and he says he doesn't have a timeline on when he's going to make his decision. But if he comes back, we all assume he'll just be the starting quarterback in Pittsburgh again. But we may not know in the next week. That might drag on for a couple weeks again or months.
He said he's not. He didn't say in a hurry. He just said he hadn't made a decision yet, right? I'm still hoping we find out Travis Kelce's decision sometime before the podcast next Wednesday or on the podcast next Wednesday. I don't care.
It could be on Wednesday.
And I don't need to know. Like, I don't need to know his decision, but I hope the team at least knows. And it seems like everyone's on board with he's returning and they're just operating that way.
Be pretty surprising.
But boy, it's a tough, you don't want to get stuck with your pants down either, I guess. You don't want to get stuck in a spot where you thought he was and this was going to happen and all of a sudden it's not.
Yeah, it just blows up in your face essentially.
Yeah, that would just create a different. He's got some size issues.
Yeah, no, you don't want to get caught down with your pants down, and that'd be bad. That would be pretty bad.
If I was the Colts too, I'd be calling Kyler. I'd be like, look, Daniel Jones, we can apparently, as we looked up before, you can void that transition tag. Kyler Murray's a better quarterback than Daniel Jones. Come on over to Indy.
I would prefer him. I just wonder if they feel comfortable because Jones did it with Shane Steichen's system already. But yeah, Kyler Murray's the better all-around athletic quarterback.
Kyler Murray being able to run as well with Jonathan Taylor. Oh, man.
That's
he's a better thrower.
But that's also the thing. I think Kyler Murray and O'Connell with Justin Jefferson.
That's fun.
That'd be crazy.
And Jordan Addison, although there's some rumblings that they might be willing to part ways with Addison, but they could have Jefferson and Addison.
Along with that defense?
Yeah. I mean,
that'd be the best division of football. I don't think there's any debate.
Here's the problem the Vikings are in and why they're not going to start. J.J. McCarthy will not start another game for the Vikings ever. Their roster is tailor-made for win now. They got a big problem. They got a defense that can play, a coach who can handle them. They've got Justin Jefferson. They're and look, it's not a perfect roster, but their roster is more designed to win now than win 3 years from now. They actually need to
and they're in a brutal division.
Yeah, they actually kind of have to press it a little bit. Otherwise, they might as well just trade Justin Jefferson for $1 million first-round picks, tear the whole thing down, and start over again. And
where
I just
it
don't
gets
think
dicey with Jefferson is if they bring in a quarterback this year. And it's just as bad, and his numbers are down and all that. Then we're an offseason away from that becoming reality. Yeah. But if they get a quarterback that can stabilize things and they can win and be back in the playoffs, then I think they'll be able to keep Justin Jefferson happy. But it can flip in a hurry, that's for sure. All right, up next, let's transition a little bit to college basketball and something that you and I have picked up on over the last week or so as it relates to NIL. And then a former college player, now an NBA player, was discussing it. I think it's very interesting to hear the perspective on the national noise around NIL and everything, plus some of the money that is spent on wide receivers in the NFL and where the Chiefs stack up compared to their peers. We'll get into that next year on Cody and Gold.
You're listening to Cody and Gold.
We're going to try to tickle your tonsils.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Eric Clapton. September 17th. T-Mobile Center. With special guest, Jimmy Vaughn. Tickets are on sale now at AXS.com. Don't miss the Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, Eric Clapton.
This is an important message for anyone struggling with $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or personal loans. Due to ongoing inflation, job loss, and the rising cost of living, many Americans are facing overwhelming credit card balances. If you're drowning in credit card debt, you may qualify for powerful debt relief options currently being offered by National Debt Relief that can significantly reduce what you owe. You don't have to declare bankruptcy or take out a debt consolidation loan. You could qualify for this debt relief option and only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe. Act now to see if you qualify. With thousands of 5-star reviews online and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, National Debt Relief has helped over 1 million consumers with their debt that qualified for this relief option. So don't wait. Call the Debt Reduction Hotline now. Dial 800-428-5757. 800-428-5757. That's 800-428-5757.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
If you're only good to your new friends, you're not going to have any old ones. Straight Talk gets it. That's why new and existing customers get free 5G phones on Verizon's 5G network. Pretty simple, really. You keep good people by being good people.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
At quarterback, calling the right play could change the whole game. And when your car breaks down, same idea. Make the right call before the big repair bill hits. CarShield helps protect you from expensive auto repairs. Plans include 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, and rental car options, all to keep your drive alive. Look, breakdowns happen, but choosing CarShield, that's the easiest call you'll make all day.
Visit carshield.com now and join the team that's helped millions of drivers save. Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at carshield.com.
Chick-fil-A's new frosted sodas and floats. It's a 10 out of 10. Hey, this is Lizzie, a team member at my local Chick-fil-A, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich and new frosted sodas and floats is how well they go together. You will love having your favorite soda blended with our creamy ice stream to make a new frosted soda or float. With the mix of the ice stream and soda fizz, it's so delicious, I call it Fizzalicious.
Order a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich and a new frosted soda and float at your local Chick-fil-A restaurant. Real team member paid for their testimonial.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Burns season preview show is Thursday, March 12th, starting at 6 o'clock, right here on your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, and Odyssey Sports Station.
11 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. We'll get to the trash of the day in about 20 minutes or so. We'll also talk some NFL here in 8 minutes as the wide receiver market get interesting. There's also some rumblings about what kind of compensation A.J. Brown might get from other teams if, in fact, he gets traded. Might surprise you a little bit, so we'll get to that in just a second. But Big 12 tournament is next week in Kansas City for the men. The women's tournament already underway. I got a text, by the way, this morning. I woke up to a text.
From?
I had my phone. Usually, if I'm going to bed, I'll hit it's automatically will go like do not disturb after a certain time. You know,
yeah,
like the silence
mine starts
thing.
at 10 p.m. and doesn't kick back on until 6 a.m.
And sometimes I have it on the timer. I guess I didn't. So it was still on the do not disturb. And so, somebody can see that you have that on.
Yeah.
Okay. So
sure.
I wake up, I don't know, it's like 7:20. And I have a text already from Jay Binkley. And I'm like, okay, this will probably be about football, or like this must be significant.
You probably like somebody at 29 and he hasn't been able to tell anybody yet.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
We all have seen the new court, at the T-Mobile Center. No, I haven't
the
seen
glass
it.
court. I've seen them take Windex to it.
I've seen photos, videos. Drew and I will be there next week. We'll see it in person.
Harold Kuntz, who's coming on the show at 1, has already been down there on the court, so he can tell us what he thought.
So the text that I woke up to, did you know that fans courtside can't have drinks because it would damage the court if wet? Wild, man. That's the text I woke up to, which I'm like, no, that's it. That's
Did
interesting.
Did he go to sleep thinking about it?
I don't know, but it was this is what we love about Bink. It was that was the first thing on his mind, and he wanted to make sure we started the day. I love it. And I texted back and forth with him about it. That is interesting, I will say that, and it makes sense. It's a glass
floor.
There's
also no half court line.
That's weird.
That part bothers me a little in the sense that there is technically a rule involved in that line.
Uh-huh.
And look, I don't know how many backcourt violations or over and back or 10-second calls happen over the course of an entire college basketball season. It's probably not that many, Drew, right? I don't know how many teams are still left out here calling press or whatever, or over and back seems like it never really happens. So, like, maybe it's not a thing, but don't they still have to have the line? Like, just for, like, the sake of, I guess it's equal. What's the difference? Like it's an equal advantage or disadvantage if I decided I want to hold the ball in the backcourt the entire time. But it's a rule.
If somebody's pressing, then where's the line? If you go over and back, if a ball is lost and it could be on the line, but you're not exactly sure because there is no line. Yeah.
Look, this is a very specific reference. There are times I feel like Brett Yormark is operating the conference kind of like Aziz Ansari operates in Parks and Rec Entertainment 720. And just like, it's all just about like looks and vibes and feeling and nothing to do with basketball. Like that is the least important part of all of it. The football or the basketball are not the important things. It is the vibes. We're about like the way we look, our image, how cool our clothes are. Like it does feel like sometimes,
a level where
it feels like it's that sometimes.
There is a level, though, understandably so, during a postseason tournament. Do you really like this? Is like do this court at a different time. Don't do it now. Like actually, just have the hardwood.
I do think if we fast forward, I mean, probably less than 10 years, but like I think this glass floor that we're all talking about, how cool it looks and everything, one, they'll perfect it even more, but this is going to be everywhere. Like, I'm not, it might take much longer. It's not going to be at the Mississippi Valley State, okay? But
does it sound like a hardwood, or does it sound different when the ball is being bounced? If it's different, I would hate it if I was a player. Hate it.
Yeah, so I haven't seen it in person. I certainly haven't dribbled a basketball.
Harold would know. We can ask him.
But I do know the stories about this. The NBA, as you know, have tried it. An NBA player said it still played like an NBA, like a normal court. It didn't feel like they were dribbling on glass. So now, is that true or not? I would trust an NBA player. So we'll see. They might have to tweak some stuff, but I do want to see it in person next week. I brought it up anyway, not only because the text was funny, but also because we know next week at the Big 12 tournament, at least, Kansas will play most likely Wednesday at 11:30 is what it's looking like at this point. And Darren Peterson, once again, will be a huge story. And you and I were talking off air yesterday. Actually, Carrington, I think, ran in studio. We were discussing this with him. And it's about Darren Peterson, who we brought the numbers after their embarrassing performance the other day, where he, since the Oklahoma State game, he's shooting 30% or something like that from the field. And did that coincide with something? One, yes, the Oklahoma State game when he pulled himself out, but the noise...
And for no explanation. You can't explain that one.
And it looked terrible. I think some of the noise has finally caught up to him. And locally, we've been talking about this guy since December or November. But I'm talking about when Stephen A. Smith, who probably has only watched Kansas basketball like for 20 minutes of his life.
He probably didn't even watch that game. Someone just showed him the clip.
Fine. But he, of course, has a huge platform. Duh. And I think that commentary, which led to other commentary and more national noise, and everybody had an opinion nationally, I think it finally impacted Peterson. Now, I don't feel sorry for him necessarily. It is self-created, but I do think it has impacted his performance here as of late.
I think it's, at this point, it's almost inarguable. Right at the time when the national media picked up the stories and been like, this guy's soft, essentially. He's taking himself out of games. He only cares about his draft status. And then people actually started questioning whether or not they'd take him number 1 overall or if he loved basketball. He played worse from that day on. Like, that is kind of hard to ignore. From that day on, he has never been as good of a player as he was in the games before that moment. He's had a couple of big shots. Hell, even in the Arizona State game, he went back-to-back threes. He still has a couple of moments. He's a great player. But it does seem to me that maybe that got to it.
I think we're looking far too into it.
You think that that's too much? You just playing bad at the same time?
Yes. I think he
it is a coincidence.
I think it's a coincidence.
Okay.
More, he just isn't playing particularly well. Because, and let's be honest, I think if this actually was something that was affecting him, then I would not be taking him number 1 overall. You're going to be the face of my franchise, the guy that gets asked all the questions, and because somebody on national TV is talking about how bad you've been playing or that you're faking injury when he doesn't know the information, only you do more than anybody else. You're letting that affect you that much.
That's fair.
You probably are not getting picked number 1 overall. If that's a legit thing that's
but there
bothering
are
you,
athletes
then
no,
I understand
like
that.
Ben Simmons is the example.
I understand that. Ben Simmons is out of the league now. I think that Darren Peterson is better than Ben Simmons. Well, I think that we can all agree on that. Like, I think that
Ben Simmons was the number 1 overall pick and consensus number 1 overall pick superstar. Drew, that's an easy thing to say now because we know Ben Simmons is out of the league. I'm just telling you. When he got drafted number 1 overall, people thought he was a star.
He is
a future superstar.
He is better than Ben Simmons was in college. He is better than Ben Simmons.
So
I think that if you're letting that affect you, if I was a team and if that actually is the thing that's real, and you are getting impacted by that, I'm not taking you number 1 overall. I'm taking DeBonsa. I'm taking Cam Boozer over. I think there is a legitimate case to not pick him number 1 if that's the case. I don't think it is, but
I don't think
how I feel about it.
I think it's more the pressure element of it, right? It's not literally that Stephen A. Smith opened his mouth.
Still.
It's has the pressure finally got to him, and I guess we're all going to find out when it actually matters. I'll still go back to what we said.
Number 1 if that's the case.
That's fair. I think. Still going back to 3 weeks ago when we were discussing this, for me, ultimately, all this, frankly, everything that's happened at this point, I truly don't believe matters, guys. If in March...
It all erases still?
If in March he helps lead them on a deep run, I don't think anybody gives a damn what happened in January and February. Now, I'm not guaranteeing that's going to happen. There's a real chance that, no, much the same, and he doesn't play well, or he plays 18 minutes, and the noise gets louder, and then it's, all right, it's over, and he's going to go to the draft and people will forget about him as far as like that, as far as that conversation goes. But I do think he has still a chance to basically make it to where I don't give a damn about what happened at Oklahoma State in February if it's Elite Eight weekend and KU's still playing and he's playing well.
But
they got other issues with the team right now anyway.
If the run's not deep and he drops 30 in the first 2 games each,
people will still be
lose,
KU fans will still hate him.
No, I understand that, but I think all of this conversation about the national conversation has gotten to him. We can erase all of it. If he scores 25 points and goes 10 for 12 from the field, then all of this that we're talking about for this conversation,
but if
it all goes away. He just was not playing good.
But based on that same conversation,
it doesn't matter how the team does.
If he goes for 11 and 14 and they lose in the second round, well, then maybe it did get to him. And look, I'll point out, and I understand, like, we can have personal opinions. I don't want us to just erase it. Like, sometimes we pretend like head cases don't exist in sports. I'm not saying Darren Peterson is that yet. We don't know. Ben Simmons, just as a reminder, 19 points a game, 12 rebounds, which led the nation, 2 steals and a block and 5 assists.
And they didn't make the tournament.
Dude, he was in
an SEC that wasn't as good as it is now. They were bad.
He was a tremendous college player. Like, now you're doing team success versus not individual. He was a tremendous basketball player.
Tyler Hansbrough was a great college player. He stunk in the NBA. I think that
he was the number 1 overall pick. Don't compare him to Tyler Hansbrough. See,
Anthony Bennett, Greg Oden.
Now we're just picking the biggest busts in sports history.
I understand that, but Greg Oden was a great player in college. He was a double-double guy in the NBA. He was fine. He was picked number 1 overall. I think
I think you're deciding that I think you're deciding that Darren Peterson is a better college player because you know the end story with Ben Simmons. You're not actually looking at it from an objective point of view from when they were in school.
I think if Ben Simmons to me was as good of a leader, as good as a player, then LSU would have made it to the NCAA tournament in a time when the SEC was not that great at basketball. They didn't even make the tournament. I don't even know if they were 500 that year. I think
I don't remember. They were they were a bubble team.
Because I think that that is also, I think, part of the conversation is you can put up numbers in college. That does not mean that your game is going to translate to the NBA in a way where it is easy for Darren. Darren Peterson has not played well at all. He was 3 of 18 the other night and had like 15 points.
Yeah, he can score. Look, and this goes all back to the NIL stuff, which just kind of changes the calculus anyway. You had pointed out a interview with Christian Brown, a former Kansas Jayhawk, who was talking about
he was on a podcast.
He was talking about cash and college kids and all this other stuff.
Yeah, he was on a podcast with Cam Johnson, 2 NBA guys, and just where we're at with the money. And I know I know the text we're going to get. Nobody's going to feel sorry for the guy that's making $1 million. I'm not asking for you to feel sorry for anybody. But the perspective I did think was interesting.
I did have NIL my last year. I probably got, which I'm very grateful, obviously, for every dollar that I got. But I had probably made $60,000 or something total. And you couldn't tell me. You couldn't tell me. So I could imagine walking around I had $60,000 and that's what I made it the whole year. And we won a national championship. And you couldn't, I probably walked around campus
Bro,
sure I did.
You would have if this was 3 years later though.
At the time, $60,000 in college sounds unreal. That's what I'm saying. I felt like I had the most money in the world. Now I can imagine if you gave me $1 million when I was in Lawrence, I wouldn't have made it to the NBA. I guarantee it. No doubt in my mind I would have made it.
So that's the other side of the coin that I was talking about is you learned how to work, you learned hunger, you learned what it takes to get to where you want to go. And now you sustain that rather than getting it just a little bit too early.
Yeah.
It's an interesting point though. I mean, I do not think NIL is a bad thing at all. No. And I think it was completely necessary. We've heard, I can go on and on and on about the NCAA all day long. And anything like this, players deserve to be paid. I do think there needs to be stronger framework around it and a little bit more control around it. But overall, man,
I think that's everybody's outlook, I think everybody's has a consensus. That's the exact,
and it should be.
There just needs to be more rules. It needs to be more strict. I don't know that a kid needs $5 million in Lawrence, Kansas.
So that's Christian Brown and Cam Johnson. I think makes a great point. One, this is why people have advocated for the NBA rule to change to allow you to leave from high school. There's also the reason why people have advocated that the first class you should be required to take, whether you're an athlete or not, is a finance class, all this kind. Because think about it, you're 18 and here's $3 million. I mean,
it would be kind of
it's nuts.
Crazy.
And again, I get it. Someone's like, I don't feel sorry for them. I'm not asking you to feel sorry for Darren Peterson or any player that is skilled enough to get $1 million to play collegiate athletics. It's amazing. Okay. I mean,
change the course of their life forever,
and their family's life and for generations. I mean, it's an amazing thing, and it's overall, I think it's a great thing,
and they deserve the money.
But the challenge, it's like how do you operate? I mean, Christian's talking there like he got $60K and he thought nobody could tell him a damn thing. Like, and $1 million, he's like, if I had $1 million, he's like, I wouldn't have made it to the NBA. He would have blew all the money and got in trouble, and who knows? Like, wouldn't have worked as hard. And
I think he was saying it wouldn't have worked as hard.
I know. Everything's in play.
You're
but
sitting around there in a shoot around, and you're like, Coach, I got $5 million in the bank account. You think I gotta
you don't care as much.
Drill extra hard?
You're not working for. You're not going to care as much. You're not fighting to get to that level to where you get that $5 million check because you already got the $5 million.
You know the thing is though, and this exists with athletes all the time. We talk about the guys you should pay and the guys you shouldn't pay, and contract years and all this other stuff. All it is exposing them faster. I don't think it's a bad thing, because I do think that there are people when they get paid, they let off the gas a little bit. They get comfortable in any job, not just sports. They get the show they want, then they lay off the gas a little bit. Don't work as hard. Don't grind as much as they did before. It's telling in a lot of ways sometimes. So if at 19 years old, you're still not motivated to work super hard, well then, you were going to have those moment lapses anyway. And but like the NIL, I'm never going to be against it because in the end, essentially it was free labor. And I'm against that. Like, for hundreds of years, the NCAA exploited child labor, essentially, for free and made millions of dollars off the back, billions, of dollars.
Child labor's a little strong there.
Some of those kids are 18, 19 years old.
You're not a child at 18.
Fine. I mean,
you're acting like there's 14-year-olds out here playing. Come on now.
No.
I get the point, though.
That's the AAU system.
I get the point.
But it's just the idea of getting the money off of the backs of these, kids, these college kids for all these years. It's like, I'm never going to be anti-NIL, but it creates a whole new set of problems. The same as there was a new set of problems created when social media existed versus when I was a kid and it didn't.
Sure.
That's just like the part of, I guess, society moving forward.
I will point out as we were talking here, I saw Jeff Goodman was tweeting, and it relates to another local school here, and it's Kansas State. He tweeted out names he's hearing for the Kansas State job. We all know Jerome Tang was fired. Who knows how that's going to all sort out in terms of the lawsuit. But the top targets, a couple of these names are not surprising. One is St. Louis has head coach they're having a very good season.
John Schertz?
Yep. Josh.
Or Josh.
And he, this is year one, I believe, for him. So that's the question. Like, hey,
Indiana State.
Is he ready? But it's year one at St. Louis, but he's a hot name. There's Casey Alexander, who is the Belmont coach.
Oh yeah,
they're going to be a team.
Give me Casey Alexander.
They might. The issue for K-State will be they're going to make the tournament. If they win a game or something in the tournament, he's going to get a better job than K-State. But I think that'd be a heck of a hire. And then I'm not as familiar with Jared Calhoun and where he's at, but
Utah State.
But
a lot of fans want him, I think, more than
the tweet goes on to say those are the top targets. Sources telling Jeff Goodman. He said the question is where will K-State sit on those coaches' lists? Again, that's what I'm saying. If you're out Casey Alexander, you might have better options. Also says Creighton's coach in waiting, Alan Huss, is a wild card. Other names in the mix include Ben Jacobson. He's a longtime head coach up at Northern Iowa. That's why that name might sound familiar for people. And then Bob Ritchie as well. So it's early. A lot of this can change based on tournament success. You guys know how this goes. A mid-major coach wins 3 or 4 games, and all of a sudden, boom. I mean, look at Dusty May. He's the head coach of Michigan now. And he's a hell of a coach. But like a couple years ago, he was at Florida Atlantic, right?
Yeah, so he took him.
Look, Calhoun. I mean, if you're looking at I could see why fans and looking at some of the peripheries, I could see why Utah State's coach Jared Calhoun would be intriguing. He was coaching at Youngstown State where he had success. It's a little bit. It's not quite like the it's not like the best story of all time, but he took over a Youngstown State team who stunk. And he's made everyone viable. Yep. Fairmount State in the D2 ranks, he made viable. He then took over Youngstown State. They had won 8 games. He got them to a 22-win team and a 24-win team before he left. And then Utah State, he's took over, and they've been a 26-win team 2 years in a row. and turned him into an NCAA tournament team last year.
Most
and
underrated
likely,
conference in college basketball, Mountain West.
an NCAA tournament team. They got a decent chance of being an NCAA tournament team again this
Mountain
year.
West
So,
just
like,
struggles come tournament time. Trust me.
they do.
I have been there pounding the table for the Mountain West for years, having covered Boise State. I used to be Mr. Mountain West. Cody knows that.
How could you, though? They don't succeed in the tournament.
They have embarrassed me come tournament time. They have made me look bad come tournament time.
So many
they have
times.
not performed. San Diego State went on the Final Four run a couple years ago, but it has been brutal. It has been brutal for them.
I would go Casey Alexander because he has very limited portal experience. What did Jerome Tane do? He did everything through the transfer portal. Casey Alexander, very good at developing high school talent. Of course, he's in Nashville, helps a little bit, I'm sure, but having a guy that builds that foundation of high school players and then give him more resources to get 4-star players from high school and help develop them into better players, I think that's the route to go instead of, and I think all three coaches kind of fit that facet more than what Jerome Tang tried to do with just hitting the portal heavy every time.
So that's a little update on the coaching search for the Kansas State Wildcats. All right, let's get to it.
Trash of the day.
We go to New Jersey for this one, which some of you might think trash of the day is warranted. Sorry, apologies. But that might be the truth for some people. Ultimately, this has to do with Girl Scout cookies, though. When's the last time you bought some Girl Scout cookies?
A couple of years.
So there's
not this year, but a couple of years.
A New Jersey Girl Scout troop that's in hot water right now. I think this was genius, though. But they set up their stand for Girl Scout cookies outside of a cannabis dispensary to cash in on, the munchies. And
what's the problem here?
I don't see a problem. They teamed up with Daylight Dispensary in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, to sell the treats near the shop's exit after regional leaders rejected the idea last year. They went ahead and did it this year. The cookies were in such high demand, some customers skipped the weed, went straight to the booth, the New York Post reported. After they made headlines, the troop may have landed in hot water with higher-ups. It was about the community. If that means the local Girl Scout troop got in trouble, that is absolutely not what we wanted, said the owner of the dispensary. The green-vested girls first set up outside the pot shop on February 20th, selling, the Thin Mints, etc. The troop had planned to return Friday, but it's unclear if they still will. Girl Scouts of Central and Southern New Jersey did not immediately return the New York Post request for comment. Cannabis has been legal in recreational cannabis has been legal in New Jersey since 2022. Look, go make your money.
What? I mean, you want me to sell boxes, right? So that we can make money and do stuff good, whatever whatever they do with the money. I think it's like you get a certain percentage directly to your troop. So like you might get to do new outdoor adventures and encourage stuff. Try to maximize the profits. This seems like a smart future businesswoman. I don't see any issue here at all with her selling outside of a cannabis shop. If anything, I'd say it's smart as hell.
Yeah, they're supposed to be. Yeah, they're supposed to be, able to go and come up with ideas and how to do things. Or if someone said be resourceful, that's what they were doing.
Also, come on.
Sounds like they cleaned up too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, it makes sense. And someone said, you use cannabis, you get the munchies, said that the owner, which is funny.
Yeah.
And just this idea between snacks and the connection. I don't see any issue with this. Plus, I imagine even if you weren't thinking you were going to be hungry for stuff later, at the very least, you appreciate like the effort. You're walking out of the dispensary and you're like, all right, well played. You're doing Girl Scout cook. I gotta buy a box now. You're playing the game. What's your go-to play? I've been to probably like 6 places in the last 2 weeks.
I haven't
where
seen
they're selling
any
Girl
yet.
Scout cookies outside of a place that I'm in.
I haven't seen
And
any yet.
if I don't want to buy it, it's like you gotta like avoid eye contact.
Yeah.
You feel really bad walking past some like 9-year-old kid being like, I don't really need any cookies right now. Like, thank you.
I have not been offered them yet.
Do you buy them in any given year?
Oh, I absolutely have. I'm trying to
Okay.
eat a little healthier right now, so I don't know if I will buy them currently. But yes, I normally like the peanut butter ones. I don't like mint flavored, so I'm not a Thin Mint person.
I feel like they brought in some of like
They brought some newer
new
ones.
Girl Scout cookies
Yeah.
not that long ago to us.
Yeah.
Explore Mores or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Again, punishing them for this is insane. Just let them sell cookies to whoever
Someone
will
said,
buy them.
Cody, talking about child labor now.
That's true. It is a bit like, it's just
Someone
like
says, Cody, your daughter's not in the Girl Scouts?
She does not?
She could be buying. We could buy Girl Scout cookies. You'd have a whole platform.
We did remember she got the limo ride for whatever school fundraiser she did last year.
Yeah, I bought the Major Saver card thing.
I used it. I got my money's worth.
I think
All
I
you
used,
have to do is use it twice.
I think I used one of them. I can't remember what I used. There was something on there that was beneficial. Yeah.
She's not a Girl Scout. She's got no time. Dance is a very time-consuming hobby, I would say. She wants to do acting camp over the summer.
Ooh,
so
okay,
maybe get into that.
She has one commercial and now she's ready to go.
Yeah, and that hasn't even aired yet. I'm still waiting for it to air. It takes longer to edit those things than I gave credit for. No, it
How
still
long
hasn't aired
ago was
yet.
that?
They recorded in early January. We were told at the earliest it would probably be mid-February, and so obviously now we're into March, and that was at the earliest, right? Takes a little bit of time maybe to put those things out there.
It'll air
Still
on
waiting.
CBS before the national title game, in April.
She'll get her time to shine. When it's out, don't worry. You'll know. I'll make sure to share it far and wide.
That is the trash of the day here on Cody and Gold. Up next, though, let's talk about how teams are spending money on wide receivers, and the Chiefs, with their most draft capital since, we'll tell you when next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
I stopped smoking with Mark Patrick's hypnosis when nothing else worked. 1 year later, my wife Michelle and I attended the Mark Patrick Weight Loss Hypnosis Seminar. In 2 months, lost 43 pounds, and she lost 18 pounds.
And we feel great. Join Mark Patrick Hypnosis and lose the weight or stop smoking. Only $59.99 guaranteed or your money back. Hypnosis, Wednesday, April 1st at the Wingate by Wyndham, Kansas City. Formerly Sure Stay Plus by Best Western in Kansas City. Lose weight hypnosis, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis, 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
Some flavors just take you to another place. Like the Filet-O-Fish, a crispy fish fillet made with wild-caught Alaskan pollock on melty American cheese topped with tartar sauce, all on a soft, steamed bun. It's crispy, flaky perfection. And right now, I can mix and match 2 favorites, like a Filet-O-Fish or 10-piece Chicken McNuggets for just $6. This deal is the catch of the day. So get to McDonald's fast. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Single item at regular price.
Did you hear? Allstate car insurance now costs even less. So when you bundle with home, you can save even more. Check Allstate first to bundle and save with a new lower auto rate. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings may vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Too many tools, too much stress, and way too many bills.
Odoo replaces it all. One connected platform for every part of your business, so you can work faster, smarter, and for less. Odoo, the only software you'll ever need. Try it free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Chiefs Red Half Hour here on Cody and Gold. Reminder, coming up at 1 o'clock today, it is a Fan Club Friday brought to you by Jay Rieger and Co. We'll have our friend Harold Kuntz from Fox 4 joining us in studio. Tons to get into. A lot on the NFL front as the league year begins next week. We know the Chiefs made their big splash trade earlier in the week with Trent McDuffie. There's a lot of rumblings out there that the Chiefs could target a running back immediately in free agency. Could it be somebody like Kenneth Walker. Would Harold Kuntz like that move? We'll do that. We'll talk about college hoops, Big 12 tournament going on for the women this week, men next week. So looking forward. It's been a bit since we had Harold. Maybe the last time Harold was in, I might have been gone. So I feel like I haven't talked to Harold in forever. So we'll have a good time coming up at 1 o'clock.
Good chance to catch up. Yeah, I do think maybe the last time he came in, you were absent.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Maybe that was just like the timing of it.
I think he was in studio maybe in December, early January or December, something like that. So that's coming up in just a bit. Let's talk some wide receivers, though. And I think this all caught our attention because we at separate points all mentioned it. Drew texted the group chat like, hey, take a look at this. And we're like, yeah, we're putting it in the run. Like you had already mentioned it. We had it in the rundown. So all three of us were like, this stands out. And this is something that caught our attention. And it was Warren Sharp, who went through simply the most expensive wide receiver rooms on paper right now. Things can change, but right now. And no surprise, the most expensive is Cincinnati, $63.5 million. They got T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Okay, two of the best receivers in football.
Makes sense that they would be spending the most on wide receivers in the league.
It's a lot of money, but it makes sense. Then you take a look. We'll get to Kansas City in a second. Buffalo has the second most amount of money allotted to wide receivers next year.
Can you tell me how?
They just made the DJ Moore trade. There's a lot of money attached to that. $59.4 million. For a team that had the worst wide receiver production last year, they only are spending $4 million less than the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh my
goodness. Or $3 million more than Dallas, who's third, by the way. And Dallas has, I don't know, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens.
Genuine question.
Crazy.
How? Like, this is a very real question for you, Buffalo. How? How are you spending the second most money in the NFL at wide receiver, and your number one wide receiver is like the 23rd best guy in the league? How? Like, I genuinely do not understand. Someone's going to have to, like, break down their cap table. And this is another reason why I think it's more than fair to, like, crash on Bean and say, what the hell are you doing? But if you look at it, here's how they get there. $24 million on DJ Moore, $11.75 million on Josh Palmer, another $9.5 million on Curtis Samuel, another $7 million on Khalil Shakir, right? And then it's like, and look, some of these guys might end up getting cut. Keon Coleman's going to cost him nearly another $3.
Yeah.
But like, how do you get yourself
Brandon Bean?
How do you get yourself in this situation? I will say, it's equally surprising as that is, for a team that has Patrick Mahomes on their team, being dead last, and I mean
they are
dead last. The Chiefs are currently on cap hit numbers for wide receiver, 32nd in the league at that position. I'd say that's a little too low.
And they only got 3 under contract. Jalen Royals, Rashee Rice, and Worthy. And the same thing applies even, it was pointed out on the text line. They're like, the running backs is about the same. The Chiefs are one of the lowest. And again, because they only have Prashard Smith under contract right now for next year. So that's why it's the lowest running back.
Damian Pierce maybe on a futures deal, technically?
I think, true. I think the running back part will sort itself out because I really think they're going to make a significant signing next week in free agency at the running back spot. Maybe it's not Kenneth Walker.
Although Albert Breer says that they're one of the favorites.
For what? Yeah, I mean, I think they are going to spend some good money for a running back next week.
So Kenneth Walker is certainly not out of the question based on the way it is. Because like I look at this and I would say, what is the position that I'm paying too much that I'm not getting enough production out of? For the Chiefs, it's got to be the way we feel about edge, right? Like amongst teams who pay defensive linemen, $44 million cap hit for Chris Jones. George Karlaftis will be a $15.5 million cap hit.
Yeah.
And then Felix Anudike-Uzomah will be $4 million. But that means they only have 2 high-priced defensive linemen. So, I don't know, it's probably not that position. Then you see that they've got 3 high-paid, offensive linemen. Okay, maybe. They don't have, like, one position group in which they've dedicated that amount of funds. For the Bills, it's far more embarrassing for the Bills. What the hell are you doing with your money? This is that meme forever where the guy spends $1,800 on candles, and they're like, help me, I can't pay my rent. Like, yeah, what the hell are you doing? I mean, what kind of budgeting system is this?
These other teams in the top 10, you pretty much all of them. We'll go through them real quick. You're like, okay, I get it. They got one of the, Cincinnati,
Dallas.
we already did it. Dallas. Tampa, okay, they had Mike Evans. Now, Chris Godwin got hurt, so that turned out to be a bad deal, but Mike Evans makes sense. Minnesota, they got Justin Jefferson. Detroit, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams. Okay, Houston, that one's trickier, but Nico Collins, but it got tricky with the injuries. New England.
That one's on
Stephon Diggs is still under contract, and right now they don't have Stephon Diggs, so it's weird to see that. Atlanta, Drake London, You know, they're not grouping Kyle Pitts in that. So that one's a little high to me with what they've gotten in Darnell Mooney and Drake London.
They're overpaying a little.
The Rams, okay, they got every penny worth of that with Puka and Devontae Adams at $40 million.
Yeah, like, again, most of them make at least somewhat sense. There's a few that are overpaying, right? Like we say with Atlanta, like, hey, you're not getting enough
Tennessee.
juice.
Tennessee at $32 million. They've got nothing out of that wide receiver room.
Miserable unit. And so, like, fine. There are a few where you're like, boy, you really bombed this. No one has bombed it worse, price per pay, than Buffalo. $59.4 million. They also have one of the 3 highest paid running backs in the NFL. So, like, what the hell are you doing with all this money? No wonder your roster is not good enough.
Their GM should have been gone as well as their head coach.
Brandon Beane! I got to say, by the time this season starts, so the Chiefs can't be last. Your ass can't be 32nd. I'm sorry. And this goes back to, like, we've spent a lot of time talking about...
been the 9th overall pick on a wide receiver. That'll bump it up a little bit.
But here's the thing. We've spent a lot of time talking about Kenneth Walker. We've spent a lot of time talking about Travis Kelce and free agent defensive ends. We should probably be talking about who the free agent wide receivers are and which ones we expect to be in Kansas City. They're not going to operate just spending the 9th overall pick and praying. They're going to sign a veteran wide receiver. I think they're going to sign 2. I think one will be a nothing. I think it'll be like a Greg Dortch level. And one will be, I hope it's Greg
Romeo
Dortch.
Dobbs.
And I think one will be in that category of player. The Romeo Dobbs, $14, $15 million a year, $12 million a year.
I don't want them in the Alec Pierce market. He's going to get an insane contract, and to me, the Patriots are going to sign him. But I don't want them to do that. But yeah, Mike Evans, you know, I'm not completely sold.
He'd be $15 million a year.
But that would fit. You know, they're going to, I think next week, you're right, it'll probably be a middle of the road receiver. I think they're more likely the first day or two of free agency or tampering next Monday. I think it's more likely we find out by this time Monday that they signed a running back or they signed a defensive lineman than it is a wide receiver.
But they can't spend I think they can afford 3 contracts of decent size this offseason. One's going to go to a running back, one's going to go to a defensive lineman, and I think one will go to a wide receiver. Again, they're spending the least amount of money at the position, and you don't even know. The highest paid guy is Rashee Rice or Xavier Worthy because he was taken in the first round, and Rashee Rice, you don't even know will be available. How could you possibly not spend money? I understand their number will go up by a few $1 million.
Sure.
If they spend the 9th or 29th or 40th overall pick, but not the extreme that we're talking about. Nothing they'll do probably will get them out of the bottom 10.
Yeah. Someone said, hey, they're on the text line 913-586-7965. Hey guys, you know, this could be misleading. It's based off right now. In a month it can be different. It can absolutely be different. But this is where it's at. Some of these teams are stuck with where they're at. Like the Bills' number is not going to change that much. They just traded for DJ Moore. They're going to knock off a few dollars. The Dallas Cowboys number could go down a little bit if they got a long-term deal done for George Pickens, because the total cap hit currently is with the franchise tag number for him. But it gives you an idea, though, where teams are currently situated. And yeah, the number will change because I'm with you. I don't think the Chiefs are going to be have the fewest amount of money.
Top 10 either.
No.
I'd be stunned if they could get out of the bottom 10. They're going to be one of the teams, and this goes back to the investment conversation we were talking about earlier, which is I do think the Chiefs have made some investments in Patrick Mahomes and making sure he's surrounded by talent, but that moving forward, they're going to need to increase that investment or get back to it. Because here's what I really think happened. I think Patrick Mahomes' career went like this. They had all the investment in the world. Top picks at running back, first-round pick, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, high-priced players, highly thought-of draft picks, bigger free agent moves, trade, whatever. They did that. And then over the last couple of years, in the maintenance mode that Brett Veach was talking about, they didn't get fat and happy, but they were comfortable. And so it was all like, not bargain bin, but like discount shopping, right? They were comfortable and there and kind of going here and there and getting into it, but not spending maybe as much as they were doing before. Now, I think the investment's got to get back. That's how they got to the 32nd overall investment, because they signed a bunch of one-year deals. They tried Hollywood Brown. They tried Juju Smith-Schuster. They tried all these different guys on one-year deals. Drafted a few more, but none of those guys are being paid yet because they're not panning out yet. And so that's how you get to 32nd. I'm saying it might be time to, again, not Alec Pierce specifically.
Yeah.
But I do think they need to sign a free agent wide receiver you've heard of. Like, I don't think their biggest free agent wide receiver can be a person. And like, I don't want it to be Hollywood or Juju again. I'd rather they try for some fresh blood.
I don't think either are back. I don't think you have to worry about that. I don't think either are coming back. The only receiver coming back that's not under contract to me, it maybe is Tyquan Thornton. And as I've said, if I'm Tyquan Thornton, I got to know what my role is because, yes, I had more success in Kansas City than I ever had in New England, but that was like 8 weeks, and then they stopped using me. So what's my role? For me to come back, I got to know that you guys have a plan for me in 2026. If I'm the Chiefs, I want him back, but I get why Tyquan potentially could be skeptical.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't he be? I mean, but at the same time, if you sign him early, Gold, right now he's not competing against anyone. Sign him right now, you can convince him of anything. Oh, no, we got plenty of space for you. Who the hell are we throwing to? We don't have anybody under contract. Come on down, Tyquan. I also think that if you're him, signing another 1 or 2 year deal, knowing that they have gotten the most out of you in your career, would be tempting for me. They have found a better way to use you than New England ever did. You got a chance to win. You're going to have to ride this thing out, but there might still be a payday a couple years down the road from you if you prove to be. Demarcus Robinson has made a career out of 1-2 year stops, 500-600 yards of production, and he gets to make $5 million a year doing it. So I would just say there are worse careers than doing that style of play. I want them to make, and maybe this is the Kenneth Walker thing, because it's not just wide receiver. Man, I want them to make a noticeable investment in the protection of Patrick Mahomes from a weapon standpoint than they have done in years. It's been about 3 years since the Xavier Worthy pick, since I thought that they made, so a couple of years, a serious investment in we're all aboard, the Patrick Mahomes has everybody around him. Not everybody, because again, I think elite quarterbacks have to do it with not everybody. But let's make sure he's got a guy or two. It's been a few years. It's been since the Xavier Worthy pick. Since then, they've just been picking up free agents and hoping.
Well, it's because they've whiffed on some of these picks. Let's be honest about it. We know that if they would have hit on the Kingsley pick as a left tackle, they wouldn't have had to spend a first-round pick last year on Josh Simmons, and maybe they use that pick on the defensive lineman. Maybe they use it on another wide receiver. I don't know. Maybe it's a corner. Who knows where they would have actually have gone, but they were forced to draft Josh Simmons because they screwed up the Kingsley pick. And I understand Kingsley now is going to end up being a very nice guard for them, but that was still a first-round pick, or a second-round pick, that you allocated that had to then impact the next year's draft. And so that's a big reason for it. I just think it's a different time in the NFL and where Mahomes is at. He's coming off a very serious ACL injury. And yeah, I think he will fully recover eventually and be ready to rock and roll, whether it's week 1 or week 4. I have no idea. I know everybody thinks it's week 1, and I hope it is. But they have to protect him more than they ever have because of the injury, because of where the league is going. I mean, Brett Veach even acknowledged publicly 2 weeks ago, that, they have to get more explosive in the backfield. That's the best way to protect Patrick Mahomes. And again, I think we're going to see that starting Monday when they sign. Maybe it's Kenneth Walker, but 1 or 2 of these top, remaining running backs that are on the market.
Do you think that I am assuming because Albert Breer and other people are reporting it, they're a serious player for Kenneth Walker?
Absolutely.
They seem to be. I mean, so it's tough. If they pay him $14-15 million a year, I'm going to have a hard time not saying, whoo, you sure? Right?
It's quite the correction on where they've been.
You've been just dropping 7th-round picks on running back, and now you're going to spend $15 million per year? And look, I've still got an issue where I don't think Kenneth Walker can do it alone. He's never really been best in that situation. Now, a lot of teams don't do it that way,
Smith,
so that's
and
okay.
A 3rd or 4th round pick running back works.
Yeah, I agreed. But it's also like, man, I still got to spend a 3rd rounder. I'm going to spend 5th. If I spend,
they may not view it that way. I do. They
Sure.
may say no, we don't need it. We'll go Smith and Walker, and we're good to go.
Yeah, if you're spending $15 million a year, I'd like it if you didn't have to spend a valuable pick also on running back. That would be my preferred way out of it versus it. But also, I've been begging for a running back forever. Can I really complain that much if they actually try with Kenneth Walker? No. Am I going to be hesitant that this deal's going to work out? Yeah, a little. But if they gave Kenneth Walker $15 million a year, in the end, I'm still going to be okay with it for the same reason we're having this conversation about putting weapons around him,
Yeah, I think if they spend money on Walker, though, it at least alleviates them spending pick 9 or spending pick 29 on a running back. And I like that. Like, I really don't want them taking one at 9 or 29. So signing Walker or somebody of that caliber.
It eliminates that.
Yeah, that's what I want to have happen.
Because then it's just defensive linemen and wide receivers we're talking about, tight ends.
Yeah, I mean, they might expand it to Caleb Downs. But
yeah, but I mean, it's limiting the pool a little bit. Right now, we can't rule out Jeremiah Love at 9, although most people seem to think he's going to go quite a bit higher than that, which I think is even more insane, just because of the level of good they have to be in order for it to work. they gotta be Bijan Robinson, or it just feels like a miss. They could be a really, really good NFL running back, and it would still feel like the should you have wasted pick 4 on it if you're Tennessee or whatever, if you don't get it. I think they're a serious player for Kenneth Walker. I think Travis Etienne right now, here, let me pull up the, you want to know the numbers on some of the available free agents? I'll give them to you. There was a report over here. Let me see. I want to pull it up real quick because it'll give you some insight. Dan Graziano, he's been covering the NFL for a very long time. He put out his contract projections for each individual player that you think would be a Chiefs target. Brandon Kiley sent this out, so I appreciate for him for aggregating it. But Kenneth Walker, 3 years, $44 million. Travis Etienne, 3 for $39. Those are closer than I thought that they were going to be. I thought Etienne might be a little less. Mike Evans, 1 for $15. Rashid Shaheed, 3 years, $40.
Yeah, I don't need Shaheed.
Romeo Dobbs, 3 for $49.
Okay.
Jalen Phillips, 4 for $92.
Yeah.
And Boye Mafe, 3 for $48. Like, knowing those numbers, what we're talking about, let's just say those, let's limit it to the wide receivers and the running backs for a minute. Take out the defensive ends. Would you rather have Dobbs at 3 for $49, Shaheed for 3 for $40, or Evans at 1 for $15? Let's say they're going to bring in one of the three.
Am I drafting a wide receiver at 9?
No, you're taking one at 29 or 40. You're taking one early, but not at 9 in this hypothetical.
Then I'll go Mike Evans.
Okay. I think that's a perfectly fine answer because you think you're going to turn that guy around.
The Chiefs, like, I'm more and more convinced now than ever that the Chiefs are either signing Walker or Etienne.
What was it? 13 a year for Etienne and 14 and a half or 15 for Walker?
Yes, 15.
So would you be? I guess the question is because we looked up the numbers in terms of next year. Pick 9. If you picked a running, pick 9 is $7 million, like cap it or whatever.
Yeah.
Would you rather pay double for Kenneth Walker than you would for?
But I still
let's say
9.
Jeremiah Love is there at 9.
I would, but
you'd rather pay double for running back.
Yeah.
And have a player that might even be less talented than Jeremiah Love.
I guess for me, it's just what it's would I rather have Jeremiah Love and $7 million in cap space, and whatever that buys me, or would I rather have Kenneth Walker and the number 9 overall pick? And you're like, the number 9 overall pick and Kenneth Walker, you know?
And it's just it is financially, it is way more money, and you just read off the dollar amount, so I know it is. Jalen Phillips, you heard the dollar amount, $90-something million.
4 for 92.
I'm not saying you're getting Jalen Phillips at pick number 9 either, but the point is, positional value-wise, it's going to cost me way more to fix defensive line in free agency than it would to fix running back in free agency. That's all. That's been my whole thing with it. It's not even about Jeremiah Love. It's that I think they can just fix running back. Yes, making Walker one of the higher paid running backs, but it is still easier to do that than if you tell me I need them to fix defensive line in free agency. Well, I got to spend $93 million to go get the top, or not even the top, the second best. Trey Hendrickson's the number 1 available defensive lineman. Jalen Phillips is probably the second best available defensive lineman in the free agent market, and he's no sure thing either, given the injury history.
And look, a lot of it, Drew, for me is like if you equal things out, even if I'm giving you extra money to spend, would I rather have Jeremiah Love and Boye Mafe or Kenneth Walker and Reuben Bain?
Oh, and Love may not even be there at 9. Let me add that to the whole thing.
Yeah. But like, would I rather have David Bailey or Reuben Bain and Kenneth Walker or Jeremiah Love and Boye Mafe? And the answer is I'd rather have the other.
You'd rather have Reuben Bain and
Kenneth Walker than Jeremiah Love and Boye Mafe. And even in that case, I'm giving you an extra $7.5 million to spend. I'm not even giving myself, because really it would be, that's a $15 million player and a $15 million player. It's like I could go a different direction, I guess. But
we'll see. I mean, could the Chiefs and Broncos get into a bidding war with Walker? That's when it gets a little dicey. That's why I think it's Etienne or Walker is potentially where the Chiefs go.
I mean, because one of those guys.
Kenneth Walker, I think, is playing in the AFC West next year. The question is it for the Broncos or is it for the Kansas City Chiefs?
You don't want to see if the Chargers or Raiders also want him?
I think the Chargers are out on Walker, given that they have the second-year player, but they'll probably sign a running back. But
they're going to be in the wide receiver market. I don't know if you saw. Somebody said that they're a real player in the A.J. Brown market. I think it was Diana Rossini said they're a real. No, the Chargers.
The Chargers
are a real player in the A.J. Brown market. I mean, really think about it. Ladd McConkey, boy, he's a tough one to figure out. He had a 1,200-yard rookie season. And I thought this guy's getting ready to explode, and now they're treating him like they don't even like it. They'd like a real number 1, not Ladd McConkey. You know, for a guy who had that kind of rookie season, you'd think.
Be careful with that sounder today. Severe weather is in the area.
Yeah, that's true.
This is a mock draft sounder,
Correct.
though.
Yes, this is a mock draft sounder. And for this one, we are going to A to Z Sports. We've been there before. I think this is a new person, though, a new individual who did this 3-round mock draft. Ryan Roberts.
Ryan Roberts.
Covers college football for them, but he did a mock draft. By the way, this is not Chiefs specific, but the tagline says it includes a Chiefs reloading their roster involved in this tagline. So at number 9, this one does have the update with the trade, by the way. At number 9, they have him taking Jordan Tyson, wide receiver from Arizona State. At 29, he has them taking cornerback Avion Terrell from Clemson.
I've seen that name already.
Jumping down to 40, Lee Hunter, defensive tackle from Texas Tech. And then in the 3rd round, he has them taking a pick 74, Jadarian Price, back up to Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame.
Again, the positional shift, I don't mind so much. And for what it's worth, in this guy's mock draft, Love has gone at 3, Bailey's gone at 4, Styles has gone at 5, Downs has gone at 7, Bain has gone at 8.
It's all very possible.
So, like,
it's all very possible.
When it goes down like that, all of a sudden, Tyson and Tate and Lemon all become very much one of the most attractive available players. I think Avion Terrell, I'm just going to say, I think it's the lazy way out. I think every single mock draft that has come out since they got pick 29 just slapped a corner in there. And I don't think they're going to be quick to just redraft a first-round corner just because there's guys gone. I think it's just as likely Jalen Watson gets a contract. They take a guy in the 2nd or 3rd the way they've done it. Noah Williams steps up. Christian Fulton.
In terms of style of play, as Ryan mentions, one thing that Trent McDuffie does, this guy does it well as well. He plays both.
Yeah. I think, in fairness to the guy doing the mock draft, as of right this second, they haven't re-signed Jalen Watson.
Fair. Yeah.
So, yes, if you tell me Watson's back, then, well, yeah, spending a corner at 9 or 29 to me would be a huge mistake. And even if Watson's not back, we've talked a ton about Caleb Downs, hell of a player. Like, you can sell me on Downs at 9. It's not my preferred choice. At 29, taking a safety or corner is not the end of the world. I don't need that if I have Jalen Watson back. I would, if you told me the room is Watson, Noah Williams, and Christian Fulton in the year 2026, I don't think they are forced to take a corner high at all.
No, I don't think so either. I think they can get by with a year of taking a 2nd or 3rd round corner and just doing what they have. They can have a qualified, good corner unit with Fulton, Watson, Noah Williams, etc.
Is that not the argument to take a better corner, though, for the same reasons that, well, this guy can develop into a solid starter where you can take a first-round corner and develop him into a freaking superstar?
They take a first-round corner. I kind of expect him to start right away, you know? And so I'm not saying I wouldn't be offended, Drew, if they took a corner. As of right now, as Gold pointed out, they have like 3 of them. And so,
yeah, that was what Ryan mentioned as well in the little blurb as well.
I just think it's like, I think everyone's doing it in the mock scene right now because rather than like trying to project what's going to happen, they're just looking at the roster as it is. And I think it's more likely they take a different position at 29 than corner as of right now because I think they have plans to address it. I don't think in free agency. I don't think they're just going to go into this thing and go in there. That goes back to the other thing where I think they can sign 3 medium-size or decent free agent contracts, but they really have 4 areas of need. Running back, wide receiver, defensive end, and corner.
Lee Hunter's not a name we've talked much about. He in this mock draft,
he had a really good combine.
2nd round, Lee Hunter, Texas Tech. Everybody's focused on David Bailey. I admittedly, I don't know much about Lee Hunter.
There was a good story on him in the combine. He seems like a pretty good character.
NFL draft buzz.
A fun player.
All right, what do we got? NFL draft buzz. Lee Hunter. Here you go, Drew. You ready?
Give me 5 seconds.
Lee Hunter, defensive tackle, Texas Tech, but also, he started at Auburn. Is that right? Did he start his career over at Auburn, perhaps? Lee Hunter. Thick, powerful base. 6'9" wingspan. Built to clog interior gaps. Fires low out of his stance with surprising burst. Generates real pocket push as a bull rusher, driving guards into the quarterback's lap. Wraps up and finishes near the line of scrimmage. Weaknesses: gets tall when fatigue sets in, loses pad level. Pass rush, essentially one move, bull rush. Stiff hips, limited bend, makes him vulnerable on line games and twist packages. That's Lee Hunter.
I will say, looking at the continued NFL news, we're starting to get the pre-free agency cuts. Dolphins, you had mentioned the other day, 2 Miami Dolphins that they should try to trade for. Even more so. They are cleaning house in a spectacular fashion. They just released fullback Alec Ingold. They're reportedly releasing kicker Jason Sanders, who's a very good NFL kicker. Like you were talking about before, it's maybe just give them a call on their players. What would it take for Devin A. Chan? Would you take pick 74?
Him and Waddle, I'm interested.
Would you take pick 40?
If you cannot get Walker because the dollar amount gets too high, or you can't get ETN because the dollar amount gets too high, then that's when you, as we discussed earlier in the week, when you maybe pivot to see the availability of Achane. Although Dan Graziano has reported all week that the expectation is he's going to get something done with the Dolphins.
Yeah, we'll see.
Someone says, I need a cigarette. Someone else said, what are we talking about? Clog interior what?
We were talking about a potential second-round pick.
Yes.
You know?
Thick.
It's not a player that we've talked about yet. I like a fresh
Do you?
member of the mock draft scene.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know?
Uh-huh. That is the Cheese Shred half hour. Up next, let's get to what's trending. Let's talk more about Bobby Witt Jr., who's hitting leadoff tonight for Team USA in the WBC. Should he be hitting leadoff for the Royals, though, on opening night? And a pretty strong evaluation from a voice that people trust with the number 1 overall pick in this year's draft, or who is expected to be number 1 overall. Plus, could that quarterback not even start week 1? That's next.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Follow the station on Instagram for ticket giveaways and behind-the-scenes content from the show at The Fan 965.
Hey, it's Rex here with Rex Buys KC. I get it. Selling your house can sometimes feel overwhelming or scary, right? I've seen it too many times. A homeowner thought they had a deal, only to have the buyer back out at the last minute. That's not how we do business at Rex Buys KC. I'm local, I know Kansas City, and I make sure every deal actually closes like it's supposed to. No hidden fees, no showings, no last-minute surprises, just a fair cash offer and a process you can count on. We buy homes in any condition and judgment-free. So whether your house needs repairs or you just want a fast, hassle-free sale, we can make it happen. If you want certainty, transparency, and someone local who actually delivers, call 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com. Rex Buys KC, helping people make smart choices one home at a time. 816-330-6000 or rexbuyskc.com.
Doug. There's nowhere I wouldn't go to help someone customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual, even if it means sitting front row at a comedy show.
Hey everyone, check out this guy and his bird. What is this, your first date?
Oh, no. We help people customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual together. We're married. Me to a human, him to a bird.
Yeah, the bird looks out of your league anyways.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-458-9469. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-458-9469. 800-458-9469. 800-458-9469.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis, which causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling? Does this sound like you? Listen to what it sounds like to be a million miles away. Tremfya, guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy, and for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Visit tremfya.com or call 1-800-526-7736.
Go to 965thefan.com for your chance to win an X-Family instant ticket, plus a shot at winning 4 Diamond Club seats to the K, all powered by the Kansas Lottery. The Drive's Papa Shot Tournament is Wednesday, March 18th at DraftCade starting at 6:30. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. What's trending?
Cheddar, mozzarella, Havarti.
Number one on What's Trending. Earlier today, we had Eric Hosmer, the World Series champ, of course, from 2015, join us. That's because he is joining Royals.tv. He'll be calling a number of games as an analyst this year for the Royals on Royals TV. He will have his broadcast debut with Royals TV next Friday night as the Royals take on the Diamondbacks in spring training. If you missed some of that conversation, we might bring some of that back at 12:30 as we talk to Haas about why now and what fans can expect. But really excited. I think people are fired up to get a fresh perspective. And, of course, anytime you bring back someone that won a championship and had provided you as a fan 2 of the better years you've ever had, it's cool to have them still tied into the organization. And in this way, a lot of times, frankly, you hear about a guy coming back to the organization and, all right, he's in a cushy front office role. And you don't really see, as a fan, you don't really see that. No, he is talking to you, and they don't have this set a number of games. It might be 30 games.
My understanding
it might be
it's
50.
around 40.
I don't know. Okay.
From what I've been told, it's going to be roughly 40-ish games, depending on as the season goes on. But still, yeah. Glad to have Haas back with the Royals. Next up on What's Trending, local college hoops this weekend as they wrap up regular season play. Kansas will take on Kansas State at Allen Fieldhouse at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Missouri will also take on near-state rival Arkansas, number 20th in the country, at 11 a.m. tomorrow. Obviously, a bigger game for Missouri than it is for Kansas, who better beat Kansas State, or we're going to be talking about real problems they've got outside of it. Yeah. They're trying to establish still whether or not they're going to have to play on Wednesday or Thursday for the Big 12 tournament coming up in Kansas City next week. Of course, the women's tournament is in Kansas City right now.
Yeah.
Kansas State yesterday had a 21-0 run to wrap up their game to advance to the next round today.
Wow.
They were down 14 points with like 7 minutes to go and went on a 21-0 run in order to win it. Crazy.
That's a heck of a comeback for the Kansas State Wildcats. NFL, Geno Smith has been released or will be officially released next week by the Las Vegas Raiders. Add his name as expected to the free agent pool of quarterbacks that will be joined by Kyler Murray and Kirk Cousins, perhaps Tua as well. Also, Danielle Hunter, who had 15.5 sacks last year. He just got a 1-year, $40 million extension from the Houston Texans. A couple other NFL notes. The New England Patriots today, Cody, reached agreement. Tommy Cutlets. Tommy DeVito
back,
on a 2-year, $7.4 million deal, including $2 million guaranteed. Tommy DeVito, will be the backup to Drake May in New England next season.
I mean, I guess fine.
His agent, of course,
is it still
Sean
the same guy?
Stellato. Yeah, the Italian Stallion, as he calls himself.
I just remember when all that stuff.
Of sports agents.
You can't give yourself a nickname like that.
His Twitter profile is the Italian Stallion of sports agents. He's in the Italian American Sports Hall of Fame. Remember, that happened right after the whole Tommy Cutlets thing.
Let the man
with
live.
The Giants.
Next up on What's Trending, the World Baseball Classic is in actual action. Actually, 2 games going on right now. Venezuela, so Michael Garcia and Salvador Perez are currently in a game against the Netherlands, up 2-1 in the top of the 3rd. Cuba is up 3-0 in the 7th over Panama, and Mexico and Great Britain are getting ready to start. There was a game last night that took place in Japan. It was Japan versus Chinese Taipei. They got run ruled. Yeah, the WBC has a run rule, kind of like Little League Baseball. 7 innings, 13-0. Shohei Ohtani, who hit leadoff, went 3 for 4 with 5 RBI, and I think it's correctly pointed out by Dusty, was a triple short of the cycle before the end of the second inning.
Yeah, single, leadoff double, and WBC. A grand slam.
The 2-1 now. Ohtani lights it up. It is gone. Ohtani, of course, and the Tokyo Dome is on fire.
Awesome scene. Awesome scene. I saw a lot of celebrities were there. Chalamet, Bad Bunny was in attendance for the game. It was like a crazy scene.
Yeah, it was. But Shohei Ohtani's pretty good.
Yeah. Lastly, on what's trending, Diana Rossini saying the Chargers are a team to watch for A.J. Brown.
I can't. I mean, again, they need wide receiver help, and they might as well surround stuff. Plus, surprising to everybody, the Los Angeles Chargers, as mentioned on the show yesterday, for some reason you missed it, have the most cap space in the NFL this offseason. It doesn't make much sense. Something doesn't compute, but they finally ran out a lot of their older, more expensive players, got themselves to a cap reset. They can spend whatever the hell they want this offseason. Now, I imagine will be in the game for like Jalen Phillips or one of the highest, or Trey Hendrickson or A.J. Brown, or, they're going to find themselves as spenders this offseason. They're not going to rest on their laurels with Justin Herbert and Harbaugh and now Mike McDaniel in the building.
That is a look there at what's trending. Coming up in about 25 minutes, you'll hear some of our conversation with Eric Hosmer, who joined us, as we mentioned, in what's trending, as now a new member of the Royals broadcast team. Before we get to Greg Cosell, who we've had on the show on Radio Rows before, who's a respected voice in NFL films and evaluating quarterbacks. He had his first evaluation of Fernando Mendoza.
I would say it wasn't a ringing endorsement.
It was something. So we'll get to that in a couple minutes. He was actually on with our friend Ross Tucker.
Oh, nice.
The Ross Tucker podcast. That's where that audio comes from. So we'll get to that. But you were talking baseball and how cool the scene was last night, and later on tonight, hopefully, how cool it's going to be to see Bobby Witt Jr. lead off for Team USA in a WBC game. Of course, the U.S. hopefully gets out of pool play, and hopefully it sets up an unbelievable matchup later on in a couple of weeks. And Dusty had texted me, 2 nights ago, maybe, when the first lineup came out for the World Baseball Classic, and Bobby had a leadoff single. He's like, how come Bobby's not leading off for the Royals? And him and I went back and forth a little bit, and I said, it's a fair point. I have no problem, though, with Maikel Garcia leading off. I'll ask you, do you think Bobby Witt Jr. should be leading off for the Kansas City Royals, especially if he has success in the WBC? Because, a lot of teams might. I think Maikel Garcia gives you the luxury where he does not need to lead off for you.
Here's the difficulty. Yes is the short answer, because if you want to talk about a purely based analytical system in which to operate your team, which I don't want purely analytical, right? You and I both, Gold, want some mix of the two, not the single individual one, but both. From a numbers game, I'll tell you right now, he should be leading off. Every statistical model on the planet would tell you should hit Bobby Witt Jr. leadoff. He is your best hitter. He should hit first. Like, those things make you get the most at bats out of your best hitter, who should hit first. He's also fast. You don't even have to and people have moved off of that too, by the way. You don't have to be the speedy
Jose
on
Reyes.
base. Yeah. It's not that anymore either. But he's both. He's like the old school leadoff hitter and the new school leadoff hitter. Dream scenario, right? So in short, yes. But if Bobby Witt Jr. doesn't want to do it, okay. I'm not going to fight. I'm not mad at the guy because he'd rather hit second or third. Maikel Garcia is a perfectly fine leadoff hitter. It's not a huge detriment. This just goes down to if you get 10 or 11 extra at-bats as the leadoff hitter, if you get 5 or 6 extra at-bats as the leadoff hitter, if you are more likely to get a hit with guys on base when the bottom of the lineup does well. Those are just times I want Bobby Witt Jr. hitting.
I understand why teams do it. As you said, it's the numbers game, getting as many at-bats as possible. I also know why the Royals have gotten into this situation, and if the player himself isn't comfortable there. But last year, we all thought Jonathan India was going to be the leadoff hitter.
They've been searching for one for a while.
They have. Maikel Garcia, he's also been up and down at times as a leadoff hitter. So it's one of those where if the player was comfortable and Maikel were to struggle in the first couple months as a leadoff hitter, then I'd be open to it. But Maikel's coming off a career year. I think he is settled in now. He's actually about to hit in the World Baseball Classic. Maikel's at the plate or about to hit. We'll keep an eye on that. And he has put enough of a performance out there as leadoff hitter for me where I'm totally fine with Maikel leading off. I don't hate the idea, though, of having, Maikel gets on base, Bobby, and all of a sudden, of course, you've got Vinny or Salvi ready to rock and roll. And I know that's the ideal scenario, but, this to me would not be the same answer at every particular club. If Bobby was on a different team, maybe they would force him. I don't know.
I don't think so.
But I think it's perfectly fine at this point for Bobby to be batting second.
I guess here's the point. Like somebody's like, no, he's got more pop. We want the guy with more pop hitting second. Shohei Ohtani hits first for his team. There's a reason why.
He also hits first for a team that has 5 MVPs on it. But
yeah. But even still.
Yeah.
So he could hit anywhere, right? They could have.
But I'm just saying, they have their lineup is absurd.
Like Mookie Betts would have been the more traditional, original guy to hit leadoff. The guy you want hitting leadoff is the guy who gets on base the most and gets the most hits. That's Bobby. And so, again, I think the thing I like about this is maybe hitting it in the way that I'm going to approach this. I'm not going to beg him to come hit first or whatever from the team. But like you said, the best thing that can happen here is he does a little bit for the U.S. He understands the role and why it's important. And you're right. If they need to pull a ripcord, which they probably needed to pull in 4 different other seasons at leadoff, as they traded for Jonathan India, didn't work with Maikel Garcia and kept kicking around, at least maybe now they could be like, hey, you've done it. Are you sure? For a little while, can you hit leadoff for us so we can get this thing squared away?
Yeah, and it's 1 year as a career year for Maikel. Ironically enough, the hit part is funny. Maikel only had 14 less hits than Bobby Witt Jr. had across the entire year.
Yeah, Maikel had a great
he was awesome. There's the whole idea of the speed element on the base pass. I mean, if Maikel gets on, he can steal.
Not slow either.
Yeah, he can steal. He gets to second, and Bobby gets a base hit, and Bobby's at third.
What's funny is,
you know what I mean? And Bobby can be at third, and Maikel scores just like that. Nobody's clogging the base pass either way.
No, and in fairness, baseball doesn't care about that anymore. So like what you're describing, Gold, is the way they used to talk about the way people hitting leadoff. We've got catchers who hit leadoff for a team last year. Like you could make a legitimate argument that Carter Jensen is a viable leadoff hitter. And you're like, but how? You're like, because you want people who get on base at the top of the order.
I understand.
Carter Jensen gets on base. And look, Maikel Garcia again was great at it last year. So is there some ultimate pressure to do it? No. Would I like it as an available option? Yeah. I mean, I'd like it as at least a choice, an available choice. That's all. But you're right. I mean, Shohei. I mean, again, was it 5 MVPs including Clayton Kershaw?
I just threw out 5. It might be like 4, but
Shohei,
Mookie, Freddie Freeman. Didn't he win an MVP?
Yeah, Freddie Freeman, and then I mentioned Clayton Kershaw. Might only be 4. Embarrassing.
Only 4.
They only had 4. Only 4 MVPs, and I don't even know how many Cy Youngs between Glasnow and Snell and Shohei and Kershaw, a gajillion.
And then, of course, now they have Kyle Tucker as well.
Stupid. Oh, God. Did you see? I think it was Vinny had retweeted it at the time. He didn't actually send it out. Somebody had used, and I know you didn't watch The Office, but you've certainly seen this clip.
Yep.
It's a clip from The Office in which somebody's asking Dwight where he had sex with somebody. And he's asking, where? Where, Dwight? Like he's getting increasingly nervous about, and he's just staring at me. He's like, seems like you already know. And that's what they said. Every time the Dodgers sign somebody, wait, where did Kyle Tucker sign? Go, wait, where? And you're not answering. Tell me where. And you're like, seems like you already know he's a Dodger. And you're like, no, not again.
What an interesting way to explain that. What an interesting way.
You haven't seen that scene.
I haven't, but what an
I understand the parallels.
I'm following.
I'm
following it, but it's just that out of all ways to explain it, that's what you chose.
You know what?
Sometimes
you just get down a pathway.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a regrettable one.
Coming up at 1 o'clock today.
The Dodgers have certainly had some pleasure from the picks that they've, or from those guys that they've signed.
Yeah, they're unbelievable.
Fan Club Friday with Harold Kuntz coming up at 1 o'clock.
Well, ask him what he thinks about the Dodgers,
Mm-hmm.
We got all kinds of stuff we can talk about with Harold. He's been at a Big 12.
Who likes the
Trent
Dodgers
McDuffie.
other than people in LA? It's the consensus is the same.
Yeah, I don't know.
It has to be.
I mean, people like winners. There's a reason why when I was growing up a kid as Kansas City, how many different New York Yankees fans were around in childhood, people do just like winners. There's a reason why there's a bunch of Lakers fans and Yankees fans, although they haven't won a World Series any more recently than the Royals have.
Mm-hmm.
Duke fans, Kansas basketball fans.
They're all in the same conglomerate of people.
Yeah.
The same grouping.
I don't think Gold likes Kansas fans to be lumped in. I think when we mention college basketball,
and it's Duke.
Duke is the easier one.
Yeah.
Although Kansas, I don't think it's different. It's just probably more regional.
Kansas has alums all over, but it's not the same. you're not going to go to unless they were an alum. It's less likely to run it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I think Kansas, Missouri, Iowa. I think you get Kansas fans who have nothing to do with the school that are Kansas fans
Here in town. Yes. Yeah.
Like I meant regional.
Yeah, if you go to
New York
and they're not an alum, like you're not a bunch of kids aren't with no ties to KU aren't just suddenly wearing KU gear.
I think it's like a 6.
But Duke, you guys all know that from growing up around here. There are plenty of. I went to junior high with plenty of Duke fans that had no ties to Duke whatsoever. No family. No, dad didn't go there. Mom didn't go there.
What's our
no
team?
reason.
What's our team for every single in the league? It's Duke. For each league, what is it?
Duke, Notre Dame,
Duke, Yankees,
Notre Dame,
Lakers, and Cowboys.
Oh, I had Notre Dame for college, but
Notre Dame's
football.
very good. Notre Dame's really good. Baseball, is there one for baseball? Might just be too regional.
Well,
Yankees was the answer.
If you were to say the
Dodgers,
now Judge,
that one,
Yankees still.
Yeah, that one fan is Dodgers. That one fan is Yankees, Lakers, Cowboys, and Duke.
Is it still the Lakers?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, they're still the Lakers. I'm not, no argument. Just asking. All right, let's get to a little of the NFL.
Yes.
You'd mentioned this.
Greg Cassell, we've had him on the show. He was on with Ross Tucker, our friend Ross Tucker from the Ross Tucker podcast. He also does stuff with NFL films, and people, value his opinion. Doesn't mean he's great, but he's an X and O's guru, I think is the best way to describe him.
He's well respected.
And he gave his first evaluation on Mendoza, who we all know is going to be the number 1 overall pick. Listen to this.
He's not a playmaker. He's a higher level executor of a well-schemed pass game. He's an efficient and consistent ball distributor from the pocket. And that doesn't look as cool as guys running around. Now, when you watch someone like Mendoza, he made certain kinds of throws within their offense. He didn't work the middle of the field very often. There was a significant emphasis on RPO concepts and back shoulder fades. There weren't many throws between the numbers at the intermediate levels. You have to evaluate that. But the bottom line is, for him to be a higher level success in the NFL, 2 foundations of his game must be pocket efficiency and precise ball placement. And he's kind of shown he can do that. It's just he didn't really make all the kinds of throws that you want to see. Doesn't mean he can't do it. His arm is good. But my point with him is that he kind of plays the position old school. It's probably why Tom Brady really likes him, because he kind of plays the position that way. He's not a runaround guy. He's a subtle, nuanced, detailed, disciplined, craft kind of quarterback. And for some reason, we don't talk about that as if those are traits.
He said he's not a playmaker, but he was then also trying to compliment him at the end. Like he just with how
he's good at what he has to go about his business.
And that goes with Diana Rossini's report today, which is that if you can say you don't believe it or they shouldn't do this, but this is what she's hearing. If the Raiders continue to lean towards drafting Fernando Mendoza with the number 1 pick, their preference, doesn't mean they'll do it, their preference is to not start him immediately, look for Vegas to bring a veteran quarterback in free agency. The weird thing, there's 2 levels to that. Okay, do you mean just you want him to sit out for the first month or
like a
the
Jacoby
whole year?
Brissett or like a Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, so if it's just the first month, okay, I can get there. If it's a redshirt year, that just doesn't really happen in the NFL, not for number 1 overall pick. Part of me is just with Clint Kubiak and with the regime and everything, why am I going to start Justin Fields for 3 games and then bring him? I just don't know what the point is.
I guess it depends, unless you're going to commit to the year. Like if you're going to Patrick Mahomes and you're going to just commit to the year, he's going to learn the system. He's going to see how we operate. We're going to settle for having another high draft pick because in reality, we're going to stink with whatever random veteran we bring in. And then we're going to turn the keys over. But like just as easily as it worked with Mahomes, it could go the J.J. McCarthy route. Like, it can go south, too. He wasn't supposed to be the starting quarterback year 1. Sam Darnold was. He was better. Then they still ran out of town.
He also got hurt in the preseason, JJ did.
I know, but they said from the beginning, Darnold. And the way Darnold played that season, J.J. McCarthy was never getting the job.
Yeah.
Injury wouldn't have mattered. He was never getting that job no matter what. The plan was to sit him the entire time. And so if you look at it from that perspective, unless they're either good or they're not. This is really my stance on it. There are a very few exceptions, in my opinion, that if you sat them for a full year, it changes the course of their career. Do they maybe get there faster or slower if you start them right away? Maybe. But if they're good and they can play and they're a starting NFL quarterback, then they're good, they can play, and they're a starting NFL quarterback. Bo Nix stepped in and he could play. Herbert could play. Mahomes could play.
As long as you can protect Mendoza, then you should start in week 1. If you're acknowledging that, hey, your offensive line, even after another offseason, is still a problem, and you want to make sure he's able to protect himself and all that, then I get the thought process more. It's just I know we've gotten to the point where now everybody is not patient with their quarterback development, and so there's got to be a fine line. I just would love, like, what they're going to bring in. Like, you're moving on from Geno, so what, you're going to bring in a Justin Fields, a Carson Wentz, and start him for a month and then go to Mendoza? I don't know if that makes a lot of sense. Now, the age thing is at least on their side. Mendoza doesn't turn 23 till the middle of the season. So this is not a 24-year-old, soon-to-be 25-year-old. You're not screwing with that too much.
I guess what's the math, though? This is the problem they have. And this is where I think Ty Simpson was interesting for teams, too. Like Todd McShay, and we don't have to play the clip right now, he had said those two prospects are not as far apart as you think. He also suggested that Ty Simpson could go as high as 13 in the draft, and that wouldn't surprise him. He thinks he could go at least that high at 13 for Ty Simpson. If this were next year, Mendoza wouldn't be the number one overall pick. If this were last year, Mendoza
probably
would be the
not.
number one overall
I agree.
pick. And so, like, if Dante Moore was in the draft, they'd be having a much more serious conversation about which of the two guys they were going to take. And so it's a tough year because I don't necessarily disagree with Cassell when you watch him play. To me, and this is tough because most recently the high upside guys have not been hitting. Just super athletes. Look at them. They test through the roof. Anthony Richardson types have not exactly been panning out. In the Bo Nix, they were just accurate, and college types have been doing a lot better. So maybe that's good for Fernando Mendoza. Operate the system. I feel like those guys have been more successful than just freak athlete. We don't know what we're getting guys lately anyway.
I think that's also why he doesn't have the physical capabilities of, some of the other guys, but he outplayed Dante Moore in both games that they played. It's not like Dante Moore was better than him, but Mendoza's he outplayed Dante Moore in those games. And I think that Greg Cosell mentioning going through, like, reading a defense, being very meticulous in your prep and how you go about it. I mean, that goes back to him being at Cal. He was at Cal Berkeley, very prestigious unit. Like, all of those things follow along. I mean, his favorite app is LinkedIn on social media. Like, I think that in terms of what he does, he's a I don't want to call him a game manager. I don't think that's fair, but he's really good at the little things that make a difference. He's not as physically gifted, but you would argue maybe his floor is higher than, to your point, Cody, some of the other guys, just because of what he brings to the table from the nature of rereading a defense and being able to be on point with prep and all these other things where he isn't going to make the mistake, if you will. Like, I don't think he had an interception in the last 8 games of the season, including the playoff. He didn't have a single pick in the playoff. I don't think at all. A single turnover. They didn't have a fumble as a team. I think that's part of what you're getting if you're the Raiders, but also maybe you need to surround him with more talent to help him become
to wait a year
fully. So then let's say they stink again. They draft Omar Cooper in the second round. You bring a guy that he knows in, and then you also draft. They
might stick with
Jeremiah
him, though,
Love.
Like, you're not necessarily hurting your draft stock unless he's good. And if he's good, then you're glad you started him, right?
Sure.
There's no real downside because either he's not going to be as good, they're going to lose a bunch of games, and they're going to draft in the top 10, or they're going to start Jacoby Brissett or somebody like that, lose a bunch of games, and draft in the top 10. Like, it doesn't really change much other than confidence, and confidence matters. Alex Smith's confidence got shaken. It took him a long time to become a successful NFL quarterback. Sam Darnold's confidence got shaken. It took him a long time to become a successful NFL quarterback. But those really are still gold. And I think you talk about this a lot. I would be very hesitant if I were a team to be looking for the exception and not the rule. For every Alex Smith or Sam Darnold that it works for, I got 40 guys who had nothing to do with confidence. They just stunk. Or they were never going to get it. They never had it, And so, like, starting them early, a lot of times I just feel like they have it or they don't at quarterback. At other positions, I feel differently about. But I just feel like you have it or you don't.
Yeah, I mean, right now with Mendoza, I still think, he's in the category where if I'm a Chiefs fan, I'm not all that concerned. It's the same thing. I get that Bo Nix just won the AFC West, and we said the same thing about that with him. It was also a year in which the Chiefs won 6 games. So, but, Bo Nix, as much as it was, the Chiefs were never in that mix. But you're not worried, in my opinion, that the Raiders have found the next top 5 quarterback in football. I feel pretty confident in saying that. I said about Bo Nix. I've said it, and I'll say it now about Fernando Mendoza. I think you maybe have long-term starters in Bo Nix and maybe a long-term starter in Mendoza, but you're not worried about, do they find the next Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow or Allen or Mahomes? No, I'm not worried about that. And so there's some level to that where it's like, okay, like it's a huge upgrade to what they've had, but middle of the road, like a team in your division that just has the 15th best quarterback, and you have Mahomes, is not going to hurt you long term. Doesn't mean there won't be one-off years. Derek Carr was an MVP candidate one year.
He
okay?
almost won the division. They had to beat him in like the week. It was like if the Raiders had won a game in like week 13 one year, they'd have been in the lead and the favorite to win the division. But fine, you're right though. I don't fear it. I don't want them to find the next Allen, Burrow, Mahomes, Jackson. Look, I'd rather they find the next Jamarcus Russell. That's always the better of the 2 case scenarios. But like, there are ways in which they find the next C.J. Stroud, they find the next Bo Nix. That in Kansas City's case, that's not going to be what stops them from winning a Super Bowl. That's not going to be the thing that stands in their way. If they don't have the team to get past quarterbacks like that, well, then they just don't have the team. Versus an elite level quarterback who can actually stop
There
him.
are some interesting parallels with Joe Burrow and Mendoza, though. Like, I think that they're like age similar to when they came out. Weren't that like Joe Burrow didn't play at Ohio State, couldn't get on the field, transferred to LSU, had an okay year, was projected to be a 4th-round pick. They go undefeated and they win the whole thing. Mendoza, he was fine at Cal. Cal wasn't that great. Transfers to Indiana, they win the national title and they go undefeated. Like, there's similar parallels from the age standpoint. People said Joe Burrow's arm wasn't that great or had small hands coming out of college. I think that there's some interesting parallels where I think if you put the right talent around Fernando Mendoza, he's better than Bo Nix because he doesn't make the mistakes that Bo Nix does.
Yeah, I mean, fair. So, like, it's got to be accurate. We'll see which way it goes. But he's still going number 1 overall. I don't think any of that part.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, up next, we'll get to the random question of the day, plus our conversation with Eric Hosmer, World Series champion. He's now part of the Royals broadcast crew. He will be calling a number of games on Royals TV. We asked him why he's doing this, what fans can expect. That's next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Join Mark Patrick Hypnosis and stop smoking now without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Only $59.99 guaranteed. That's right. Don't just cut back. Stop smoking once and for all. Also, lose all the weight you want. Only $59.99 guaranteed with Mark Patrick Hypnosis. Let hypnosis destroy unwanted cravings, late day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating, and lose the weight. Weight loss hypnosis, Wednesday, April 1st at the Wingate by Wyndham, Kansas City. Formerly Sure Stay Plus by Best Western in Kansas City, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis, 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
I hope you are sitting down. The ACA Marketplace has announced significant increases on monthly premiums, with deductibles over $10,000. You can enroll with Matt B. and KC at BBS Insurance's Freedom of Choice plan now. You don't have to wait. Their plan lets you use any doctor, has zero outpatient deductibles, and is 30 to 60% lower cost than most Obamacare plans. Also, there's no income disclosure required, so no potential tax penalties. If you're a small business owner or pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Matt B. and KC for an instant quote over the phone. 816-205-4664. That's 816-205-4664. Or go to bbsinsurance.net. That's bbsinsurance.net. They will customize a plan chosen and managed by you, not the government.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Come on. No! It's just a golf lesson, champ. Loosen up. I can't.
See that Hyundai Santa Fe?
Yeah.
I only paid
Finish up on your own. I gotta run.
Deal's so right, it almost feels wrong. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Get 0% APR for 60 months, plus 0 payments for 90 days on the Hyundai Tucson, Tucson Hybrid, Santa Fe, or Santa Fe Hybrid. Now, during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Hurry, offer ends March 31st. Call 562-314-4603 for details.
Presenting a Gain Flings love story. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus this morning when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. Alas, I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Try Gain Flings with OxyBoost and Febreze.
J. Rieger & Co. Oh, so good. Quality crafted in Kansas City. J. Rieger & Co. Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Winner of Best Craft Bourbon at the 2025 Ascot Awards. At 90 proof, it's rich, well-balanced, and oh, so good. Quality crafted in Kansas City.
Go to 965thefan.com for your chance to win an X-Family instant ticket, plus a shot at winning 4 Diamond Club seats to the K, all powered by the Kansas Lottery. You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
We're a half hour away from a Fan Club Friday. Harold Kuntz of Fox 4 going to join us in studio. We'll talk some Royals baseball. We'll certainly talk free agency and what Harold believes the Chiefs should and will do next week. What else is happening in the NFL, including where could Max Crosby and A.J. Brown end up? That could happen today or tomorrow, if you believe some of the reports that are out there about A.J. Brown in particular. Max Crosby also seems likely to be traded. You guys can continue to watch the show on YouTube, Twitch, X, and Facebook. Also, the Jay's Southland Tow Service text line always open, 913-586-7965. So Eric Hosmer was announced earlier today that he's joining the Royals broadcast team. He'll be calling a number of games for Royals.tv as an analyst. This year, his first game is going to actually be a spring training game next Friday when the Royals take on the Diamondbacks. Of course, the world champ, part of the broadcast crew, pretty cool. We started our conversation joking with him if the wife kicked him out of the house, and that's why he's doing this.
What's up, guys? Yeah, I got 3 kids now, man, so I'm trying to find ways to get out of the house, and I think this was probably the easiest way for me to do that right now. But no, man, look, I wanted to stay involved in the game post-playing career somehow, some way, and at the same time, I wanted to be at home with my kids. Right when I got released there in Chicago in 2022 was right when Jack, my son, was born, our first child. So, he's 4 or 5 years old. I'm sitting there at the house, and I'm like, man, I want the best of both worlds. Like, I want to be here watching him grow up, but at the same time, I want to be involved in the game, and I want to stay involved in baseball. And it felt like, trying to go through the media side, doing the podcasting, being able to go out and stay in touch with guys, felt like it kept me in tune and kept me alive in the game. And as I was doing that, getting to talk with Sam, getting to, see the Royals as they're in Boston and out in the Northeast here where I'm staying, just kept the conversation going with those guys and kept dialogue with Sam Mellinger with Kansas City Royals and just telling him, hey, man, I'm really enjoying doing this. And, we ended up getting to the point where, hey, let's see if we can get in the game, call some games in the booth, get in the booth next year, and really just see if we can, cover the Royals baseball from any and all angles. And I think nowadays it's extremely possible with the capabilities we have,
What do you think about, I guess, like this idea of, like, you talk about your life stages, which I find interesting, going back to an organization that you started with when you were like a kid. I mean, you were 18 probably when you were drafted by the Royals, and now you're back doing work for the team.
Yeah, crazy, right? I mean, it's so the Kansas City Royals, man, it's truly family for me. That's the organization that raised me, so to speak, baseball terms, but at the same time in life, I signed there, like you said, 18 years old, played throughout my whole career there, and then end up, signing somewhere else after the fact. And my experience via free agency, my experience in San Diego was all things that kind of added to me wanting to get on the media side, player kind of driven media is what they said, right? And I felt like baseball was the last to that punch. And then now, it just feels like, man, like watching the game as a fan these last couple of years, there's players out there that are doing some really, really great things. And I just look at some of these games and I'm like, man, I feel like some of these guys can be explaining a little bit better what these players are doing. And it just created a drive and it created a passion for me to get out there, tell these players stories. And now that's led to being able to call games in the booth, which I'm really excited about.
How much, I guess, does the podcast stuff really just like continue that? Like you did the podcast and then you're like, no, I want to be at a game. I guess what's that transition like versus the creative content side of it versus like a coverage of a game?
Yeah, just learning different formats of it. You know, I think in the beginning, what I wanted to do media-wise has completely flipped to now. You know, when I thought about it in the beginning, I was like, man, I really, like you said, with the podcast, want to tell players stories and get to know these guys off the field, which was great. I learned how to do that style of format. And then it was like, man, I never really thought commentating a game would be something I wanted to do. It just felt like it's 3 hours up there. It seems like it's a long time to be talking during the game and all that kind of stuff. And as I've gotten more and more reps and doing stuff with MLB Network, with doing stuff on set, pre and post game stuff, I understood and learned that, you know, you're on the set for 3 minutes. You got two other people there that are talking about a subject and you want to kind of bounce off of what the other person is saying. So really you got this 3-minute segment and you basically got 30 seconds to explain what you're trying to explain in baseball terms or what you're trying to break down. So then it was like, man, I think I'd want like a longer platform or like a format with a longer time frame to be able to explain the game, whether it's instructional, whether it's a move happened off the field, whatever that is. And then it came to, well, commentating is that kind of time frame and that structure. And I got to do some different type of commentating, not in the booth at MLB Network, but it was that format that I'm like, man, I think this is the format that I really enjoy and that will give me the time to really just explain the game the way I want to explain it to fans.
We're talking to Eric Hosmer, of course, World Series champ, but also now a member of the Royals broadcast team, joining Royals.tv. You, of course, know what it takes to win a championship. You join this crew now, watching a team and covering a team that everybody's got a very, very high bar for. There's huge expectations once again for this team heading into the season. What do you see from these guys as you've been out maybe in spring training, or you certainly saw what they were able to do a couple of years ago when they made the postseason?
Yeah, that's part of this as well that makes it so exciting is they got a group now. They have a core group of players that, you know, they've been there for 3-4 years now. Obviously, that's built around Bobby Witt Jr. and Salvi's been the captain there. He's been the, you know, that catcher that's been there the last 15 years, cornerstone of the organization. So that's what makes this, you know, super exciting as well, is they have the group of players that can be successful. They have the group that can win, and they got a little taste of that postseason a couple of years ago. And I think now after last year, they consider a down year, not making the playoffs. It seems like this year there's going to be a lot of hungry guys on that roster. When you have the pitching staff that they have, anything is possible, and I truly mean that. And then when you break down the pitching staff, when you look at Cole Reagan's the ace, it's like, man, when you kind of start to break down his career and everything leading up to this season, it's like this is the year for him. I really feel confident about that because last year he had some injuries, didn't really pitch a full season. So now we go into this season, he's 3-4 years into his big league career, whatever it is. But it seems like after that last year, he's rested. Whatever the injuries were, he's over that. And he's, you know, 97, 98 his outing last night. I don't care about the runs he gave up. But it seems like he's ready to go and be that ace and be that horse we need to lead the staff.
When you look at a guy like Jack Caglione, you came up and immediately were successful your rookie year. But then like the second year, maybe had some of those big league struggles. You worked with some guys like Moustakas who had to like slowly build his way up. What would you say to a young player or fans that are like, well, I don't know, I saw 60 games, it might not all click, versus, you know, sometimes this takes time?
Yeah, you do know that takes time. And that's a great point because that's a great way to explain it to the fans is every career, every player is different how they come up. And, you know, there's a huge difference that you really never experience as a player when you get that call up to the big leagues. You know, I think the biggest surprise I had in my professional career was going up to the minor leagues and going to low A. And that was really the first time in the Midwest League that I had ever struggled. And once you kind of overcome that struggle, so to speak, in baseball, it seems like, okay, maybe it's a week, it's a month, it's a season. And then once you overcome that, you feel like you're good. That was my struggle in baseball. I've overcame that. But when you get to the big leagues, it's like no other level because there is so much information, especially nowadays, that every single coach, every single person that is prepping the scouting report to get Cags out knows where he's vulnerable and know his weaknesses at the plate. So it's a situation where, you have to truly prove that you can hit this or you could not be vulnerable in this location, or the league is going to continue to pound that spot. And that's really the biggest difference when you jump up to the big leagues. And certain players, it takes time for them to learn that. It takes time for them because these guys are stubborn. They're superstars. They just think internally like, hey, man, I've done this before. I know, like, when I got to college, it was a struggle. I got through that struggle, and I could be successful. The big leagues, it's really, really different because you got to put a lot of prep. You got to trust your coaches and the reports they're giving you. And then that's where you really got to understand how important that prep is before the game. You can't really just go out there and trust your talent.
Is it harder if the first time you struggle is in the bigs? Like, Jack Caglione didn't really struggle at any other point, Hosmer, if that makes sense, right? He, tore through A, AA, and AAA.
Absolutely. And I think this is where him being on a roster with guys like Vinny, with guys like Bobby, guys that are established big league players now, they're going to be able to tell him, like, hey, man, Cags, listen, when I struggled in 2012, looking back on my season, I was in May hitting 220, with 6-7 home runs, whatever it was. I was in May. I'll never forget. I felt like my world was ending. I'd just gotten called into Ned's office, and Ned's like, hey, man, we're going to get it going here. Keep being confident and all that kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, man, my world's done. My season's over, and it's May 15th. We end up getting through that season. You end up realizing in September, like, hey, my average went from 230 to 250, whatever it is. I don't think that was numbers, but you get what I'm saying. You then realize as a player, oh, man, from May on, I had so much time, and there is so much at-bats. There's so many games left in this season that I can be patient. I can slow things down. I don't need 3 hits tomorrow to save my season on May 16th. And I think that makes you realize as a player there's time. You can kind of let loose, settle. But at the same time, you got to realize there's urgency. So I think Cags having the benefit of being with these older veteran players, guys that have been proven and established, will help him. And they'll be able to be like, hey, Cags, just slow it down. Everything's going to be okay.
We're talking to Eric Hosmer here on 96.5 The Fan. He's joining the Royals.TV broadcast team. His first game and broadcast will be next Friday as the Royals take on the Diamondbacks. That's March the 13th. I know you never thought when you guys were winning a championship together in 2015 that we fast forward to 2026, you'd be an analyst on a broadcast calling a game with Salvador Perez still playing and you in the broadcast booth. So how's that dynamic working for you?
How about that, huh? That's a credit to Salvi, man. How about him and his career, and to do it at a position like catcher that is so grueling on your body. And not only that, people, not you guys, but around the world, underestimate those summers in Kansas City and how hot and humid it could be out there. So it really is a credit to Salvi, his passion for the game, and how he's taken that passion off the field to get his body in shape, to get everything ready to roll, to have this career he's had has been unbelievable. And it's going to be special for me to see I'm not going to say last year or two, let's just say the back nine of his career in the booth.
I guess the most impressive thing to me is he has not grown tired of baseball. He loves it as much as when he was 20.
He really does. And you can see it. It's genuine. You can see every single game. I mean, last year I went out and saw the boys in September, and I was in Boston. And, I mean, you're at the dog days of the season, and he's out there smiling, can't wait to get out there batting practice. He truly does love the game.
I know that you guys just missed each other in the 2010-2011, but I have an idea. Since you're joining the Royals broadcast crew, I have an idea for an alt broadcast I want to get your opinion on, Haas, which is I just want an occasional alt broadcast where it's Zach Greinke talking about anything he feels like for 3 straight hours. It doesn't even have to be about the game. How do you think that would go over?
Oh, man, that would be great, man. That would be great. My first taste of Zach Greinke in the offseason, I joined a fantasy football league with him like 2-3 years ago, and it's a sleeper league, one of those leagues where you can kind of carry your players on to the next year, the next year, the next year.
Yeah.
And the first year of the league, we do the draft, and Greinke ends up trading all of his best players and just gets like 9 first-round picks. So I'm like, what's this guy doing, man? This is awful. What ideas he do? Whatever. I mean, 2 years, 3 years down the road in this fantasy league, he's just completely dominating our league with every of the best player there is right now. So he knows what he's doing, and I'm with you, man. Zach's an interesting cat. I would love to hear that all cast.
I heard he's always offering trade offers at 2 a.m. and stuff. He's in deep.
He's dialed in. He's dialed in. He's got someone over there crunching numbers for him because he is always locked in.
Before we let you go, we're talking to Eric Hosmer. A lot of people are asking on the text line. Any idea how many games you're calling this year?
No, I think that's kind of subject to change. I know I'm going to start out, and we have our schedule for the first half of the season. The big thing is I want to, really, really be good at this. I want to, prep like if I'm a player. I want to continue to improve at this, and at the same time, I want the fans to enjoy it. If it's something where the fans can't stand me, I don't want to be up there for 100, 120 games throughout the year. I really want to, do this the right way. I want to come in there and learn. I've learned so much from Hud, Ryan, Joel, Monty, all the guys already through my playing days. So I'm going to be a sponge, just trying to learn from those guys now in the broadcasting career. And, hopefully this is the first of many years that we can grow into bigger and bigger roles.
So that was Eric Hosmer earlier today with us. The news, as you heard there, he's joining Royals.tv. He'll be part of the broadcast crew for 30-plus games this upcoming season. And you heard how you can tell how seriously he's taking it. And this is going to be, I think, something that fans are going to really enjoy as the season continues and gets going, man. Because there's some guys that will join broadcasting, and you can tell, I would put Tom Brady in this category, where like they want to be the best at that as well. And there's some other guys that they get in broadcasting because it's an easy gig for them and whatever. You can hear from Hosmer, he wants to be like damn good at it. He wants to be one of the best at it. And that's obviously a great thing to hear, but I just think Royals fans are going to love the fresh perspective that he's going to bring.
And it's an interesting year just from the, like what we asked him early on, which is this is a huge pressure year for the Royals. And look, Salvador Perez, I saw when he was on with Vern, said that Bobby Witt Jr. is the best, most talented player I think he's ever played with, right? And so they just have a lot on their shoulders. Hosmer knows what that's like. When they went, they didn't have a lot on their shoulders in 14. Some, because Ned might get fired, but then they got to those World Series and it was a magical run. They had the weight on their shoulders in 15. And so they understand pressure. He understands pressure. But yeah, what you said, to my understanding, it is very important to him that he is good at it, as in he is going to work hard to be good at it. So hopefully in the end, that leads to some good broadcasts. I think he could call up to 40 games.
Random question.
Random question today brought to you by Kansas City Urology Care at KCUC. Remember, you see the best in KC. Visit kcurology.com today. For you, Gold, you, Drew. Text line 913-586-7965. And of course, over on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook, where we live stream the show. Coming up in 15 minutes, Harold Kuntz will join us for a Fan Club Friday. We'll talk McDuffie. We'll talk Darren Peterson, Big 12 tournament, a little bit of everything with Harold Kuntz coming up in 15 minutes. So I was having Drew always accuses me of not having a deeper conversation during the random question, Said he was better at it, more performative. So I'm going to ask you, Drew, I'm going to ask you a very deep question.
All right.
And you're going to have to decide in which way to answer it. Because I've told you before, I remember way more of my dreams than anybody else I know.
Gosh, okay.
A bizarre amount. So last night was just another example. I've had 3 or 4 times in the last 2 weeks.
The same one or?
No, very detailed dreams lately. Okay. Not sure why, but in a stretch of very detailed dreams lately. So the question I have for you today is simple. Do you think your dreams mean anything? Or do you think that they're just meaningless, random thoughts inside your brain that have nothing to do with anything?
Mean anything as in that they're happening for a reason, or
no? Either it could be happening for a reason, or as in deeper meaning, or that's a deeper meaning, or they are related to the things that are on your mind.
I absolutely think I absolutely think the dreams you have in a lot of ways, whether it can be due to stress, it can be whatever. I think there is some cause for those particular dreams happening, and something that is on your mind or whatever. Absolutely. Yeah.
So you think that it's more, but you don't think it's foreshadowing?
No, but I just think if you were stressing about something or thinking about or excited about something moving forward that you have coming up, that your dream could be related to that. Stress. There's even studies that say stress can lead to certain types of dreams and things like that.
And I guess what really gets me is my dreams are I'm very rarely dreaming about the thing that's happening, as in, right? They're not connected to the things actually happening in my life, but are they, the other version of stuff where it's related in some way, but I'm supposed to what? Diagnose the meaning? I'm not keeping a dream journal.
No.
I'm not going that far. Drew, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I think that, my dreams are really the ones that are the most vivid, I guess, are unrelated to anything that has happened or to this point has happened since having those dreams for the first time. Mine aren't necessarily apocalyptic, but there's some things that are very different about the settings that I'm in my dreams that I've never experienced.
Are they apocalyptic?
Not necessarily. I guess.
Some of mine are. I'm not saying they aren't.
So one of them, for instance, is is the street outside of my development that I lived in, 79th Street. There's a lot of like trees around the area and everything like that. And one of the dreams, I don't even know what the dream's about. All I know is that it's like a desert. All the trees are gone. It's gone. It's like in Lion King when they're in the desert with the hyenas and everything. And they're like,
this is a recurring dream?
It's one that I've had a couple of times, but it's not like a scene. It's, it's a like a setting, like it's a wasteland. There's another one where I'm with my mom and my sister, and we are driving away for fleeing a tornado that is like 5 tornadoes that are all coming in the direction of this place, and we stop at like a convenience store.
Bold day to choose that, by the way.
Yeah, we're about to have some severe weather.
Kansas City.
And then there's another one where my brother
I don't have recurring.
and I are
dreams.
on an alien spaceship, and we're like, I don't know, like fighting aliens or something like that. Those are the 3 most vivid ones that I remember that I've had, at least that I still remember.
I don't know what it means, but like there's plenty of times like I couldn't. I couldn't even tell you the last dream I had.
Oh, so I've had like. I don't write them down or anything like that. Sometimes, and maybe there's like a couple of other things that kind of get me sometimes. I dream very like vividly, like I could describe to you like the plot
in very
of a
much
book
detail.
Oh wow!
In a lot of detail after I wake up.
Interesting.
That's how I dream. But then also I learned the other day. So when you picture something in your head, like an apple, do you see an apple? Like if you close your eyes and you're trying to picture an apple, what do you see?
Well, now I can't do it. Now we're laughing. But
what do you see? Do you see part of an apple? Is it fuzzy? Is it like a picture? Most people see the picture of the item in their head. I see nothing.
no,
Black.
yeah, I don't.
Can't see anything.
I'm not seeing an apple.
But you see something fuzzy, like the fuzzy outline of an apple. This is more common.
Wait, you're saying, are you imagining it or are you seeing it? If you tell me to imagine an apple, I imagine an apple.
I can't imagine an apple in my head. There's nothing like I don't see anything if I imagine an apple.
Oh,
in my head.
okay, I have that.
It's just black.
Yeah.
Like I can't, and that's more rare. I can't see that in my head. I was also looking up, like, do you guys ever like see? This is going to make me sound like a crazy person.
No,
well, it's okay.
Sometimes
this is the first time.
Sometimes
this is a great random question.
Sometimes when I'm laying in bed,
oh god,
I can see visual spectra in like the form of an image slowly moving towards my eyes. Do you guys ever get that?
Like a person or like just
it could be an object.
Ooh, look how hard it was.
It could just be a light. It could be a lot of different things.
So you're saying you're not dreaming, but you're just in.
I'm awake.
You're awake, and if you were looking at the fan above you,
I could see like I could see something like coming towards me sometimes.
No, I don't have that.
Okay.
I don't think I've had that before. But
somebody wants to just put me in a plane and give me a parachute, I'll jump.
I'm following.
Someone says my dreams are lame. I got to work, normal day, doing laundry.
That's what you dream about?
That's what this person said. My dreams are not like that. Mine are always far too intense. Not far too, but oftentimes. Someone says their dreams are just involve sitting in the fan club with the boys, you know?
There you go.
They want to come to a fan
club. There you go.
Someone says, what about deja vu? Do you believe in that? I believe in the sensation. I don't know if I actually believe I'm like that feeling. I believe in that feeling because like I've sensed that, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like I've done this before or been in that space. Somebody's accusing me of this being too close to me. I think that dreams generally apply to everybody.
It's all right question. Yeah.
I think it's a good question. It makes you think a little bit, which is always...
Do you think it's foreshadowing? Drew, you of all the people I would have assumed, you would have thought like, this has a meaning and I should look into it.
I mean, I think everything has a meaning. Like there's a reason things happen. Some of it can be our own, doing. A lot of times it is.
The other one,
I don't know if the street that I grew up on outside of my development is going to turn into a desert. I don't know if I necessarily believe that, where there will be no trees or anything. It'll be like you see the cracks in the ground and everything like that. Like there's tumbleweeds. I don't know about that.
I also, did you guys figure this out? I also only recently figured out that only some of us maintain an inner monologue. Do you talk to yourself in your brain?
Yeah, sometimes.
I do all the time. Drew, do you talk to yourself in your head?
Do I talk to myself?
Everybody
Yes.
doesn't have an inner monologue. What's the voice? Is it your voice? It's my voice in my head.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking.
I do very often.
That's actually,
I talk to myself very often, I would say. Think to myself.
It's actually Morgan Freeman's voice. That's actually what it is for me.
Somebody says they got to figure it out. Drew's dreaming about a wasteland. It's just a dream about the Bengals.
I've never dreamed about the teams that I cheer for, thankfully. I don't need to. I don't need
those are not called dreams for Cincinnati Bengals fans. Those are nightmares, I think, pretty sure. Yeah.
If anything, the last 5 years has been better than anything I had prior to that.
Now people are talking about sleep paralysis. Is that a thing?
I don't envy anybody that has struggles to sleep and has to go and figure out how I don't envy that.
There have been times
sleep
where,
apnea and all that kind of stuff. I don't envy anybody with that. That sounds terrible.
Someone says sleep paralysis, a temporary inability to move or speak while falling asleep or waking up, often accompanied by vivid, frightening hallucinations and a feeling of intense pressure on the chest. Well, that sounds awful, and I'm glad I don't have that one.
Yeah. I know somebody who's had that stuff, and it's they talk about it. It's tough. Obviously, you know, and there's some stuff that you can do to remedy it, but it can come and go.
All right.
At least from what.
It's my random question of the day.
I know.
This segment brought to you by your local dispensary as well.
It does feel like it feels like a conversation we'd have sitting around high or drunk.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Isn't that wild though? But you're not high or drunk when you're having these dreams. It's kind of crazy.
No. I feel like I must dream more than most, or remember my dreams more than most.
That's what I wonder, if it's just not everybody remembers their dreams. Most people get to that, whatever the stage is at REM or whatever, of what caused you to dream, but like not everybody remembers them.
Yeah. No, there's totally different versions of it. But now the text line over on YouTube, they're giving you a hard time about liking Bruno Mars. Is that a thing?
The morning show was giving me a hard. I guess this morning.
You're not allowed to like it
yesterday. Yeah. Dusty said, "Please clip that," and I was like, "Okay."
They clipped it. They thought it was weird that I said I liked the new Bruno Mars album. I don't know why that's weird, and they were making fun of me, I guess, this morning. I did not listen to their show driving in. I was listening to
Bruno Mars.
Yeah, so I don't know why they thought that was funny.
Dusty still wants it to be 1988. He wants Bruce Springsteen to still be the
Cody,
number one artist.
Listen to coming into work today.
Bruce is great too. I listen to everything. I listen to everything. Like I said, if it's in the top 50 on Spotify, it rotates on its own. That's what I listen to. Sometimes I'll listen to our friends over on 106.5 The Wolf. But
I've been getting into Afrobeats.
I finished, as I told you, I finished Project Hail Mary early in the week. I listened to on my car ride in a book called Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Huh?
It just seemed like
Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Hold on.
What are you doing? Tongue twisters?
That's the book.
Cody, genre sci-fi?
Yeah.
I felt like with a title like that, it was
very
fantasy, sci-fi.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Like
it's totally different than the book I just read.
All right.
Switch to some historical nonfiction next if you got some suggestions.
Up next, let's get to a Fan Club Friday brought to you by Jay Rieger and Co. Harold Kuntz from Fox 4 going to join us. We'll talk Chiefs, what they're going to do next week. We'll talk Trent McDuffie trade, other moves in the NFL, some baseball, some college basketball. Coming up right here on Cody and Gold.
You're listening to Cody and Gold. Tune in for the Chiefs Red Half Hour every day, starting at 11:30 right here on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-491-9914. 800-491-9914. That's 800-491-9914.
Call Hamilton today for our $79 mainline drain cleaning special. The pros at Hamilton will inspect your drains with video camera technology to pinpoint exactly what is needed to clear those clogs and help prevent expensive drain repairs. The expert technicians at Hamilton are ready 7 days a week to solve your problem the right way, the first time. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 five-star reviews are great reasons to trust Hamilton. Visit callhamilton.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions.
License number 2025-11121.
Hey guys, it's Rob Britton from The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, and we're excited to announce the launch of Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series documenting the run-up to the upcoming World Cup with our friends over at 98.1 KMBZ.
And I'm Scott Parks from Daniel Parks on KMBZ. Beyond the Pitch KC features the biggest names who helped make the World Cup in Kansas City possible. And there was a lot of work plus the major storylines heading into this summer's tournament.
This is so much more. This isn't just a podcast about soccer.
No, you're right, Rob. It's a podcast about Kansas City, for Kansas City, telling the story of how our town is hosting the world's biggest sporting event.
New episodes drop every Wednesday starting on March 4th, along with video clips that can be seen on 96.5 The Fan and KMBZ social channels.
So make sure you subscribe. Download Beyond the Pitch KC with Rob Brennan and myself, Scott Parks, on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Ah, the most beautiful time of year is upon us. Tax season. And TaxSlayer is here to help you file. We guarantee 100% accuracy and your maximum refund. Those are some good numbers. And you can trust me, because I'm a talking calculator. Did I mention TaxSlayer even has support from real US-based humans if you have any questions along the way? Beat the rush and start for free today. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
Wendy's has a new Girl Scout Thin Mints Frosty Fusion with Girl Scout Thin Mints cookie pieces, rich creamy frosty, and a mint chocolate cookie sauce. Which means Girl Scout Thin Mints and Wendy's Frosty, yeah, they're basically best friends now. It's like two delicious desserts just high-fived, snapped a few too many friendship selfies, and then rode a tandem bike down a never-ending road of mint chocolate frosty perfection. So, swing by Wendy's and try the new Thin Mints Frosty Fusion.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's.
Listen between 2 and 6 on Monday, March 9th and Tuesday, March 10th for your chance to qualify for the Drives Papa Shot Tournament. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station. Welcome into the Fan Club.
Step 1, we buy into this club. Step 2, we roll over to the club, either in your Mercedes-Benz or my pre-owned Acura Legend.
It's not as much as a club as it is a couple middle-aged dudes in sweatshirts talking about sports.
Bounce, 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 bounce. Now all the ladies saying bounce, 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 bounce.
But you get the gist. Here's Cody Tapp and Alex Gold.
It is a Fan Club Friday here on Cody and Gold, presented by Jay Rieger and Co. Hope everybody's having a good Friday. The weather sucks. I get it. About to get some severe weather. Maybe we should have had Harold Kuntz and like a Fox 4 meteorologist come in studio.
Yeah, man, how were you on the green screen?
Shout out.
Yeah.
So there was one time back when I was in when I worked at Tulsa. Oh no, it was Hagerstown. I had to do news, weather, and sports in one newscast. It was so our news.
What the hell's that gonna work?
So our news anchor Patricia Martellotti, one of the, and I say this respectfully, one of the dumbest human beings I've ever met.
Oh jeez. Okay.
When I tell you that she read everything on the prompter, I mean anything. To quote Anchorman. She locked herself out of her car at like 10:45, and the news, in the East Coast starts at 11. And our weather guy called out sick because he had he called out sick. It's technically sick, but he had a family emergency. So I called the ND. I'm like, well, what's up? And he's like, you're going to have to do everything. So it was just one night only on a Saturday. And this is like 2009. So I wish I could have kept the tape, but tape.
Yeah.
And I had to do the whole thing. It was great. I re-racked the 6 o'clock news. I had my sports already done, thankfully, because it was 10:45. And the weather, I was just like, buddy, I'm flying around. I'm just saying names and numbers at this point.
Yeah, it looks like it's 50.
Yeah, I was like, it's 60 in Conicajig. I mean, at least I knew the pronunciations of the name, the cities.
Yeah.
I knew that. Like, Conicajig is like, it's Smithville, it's 58.
I do laugh anytime
wins.
one national person discovers Olathe on a map.
Oh, they say
Olathe.
Olathe.
Bomb it every single time. They never get anywhere close to it.
I've heard so many. I didn't not to call her out, but Taylor, when she got here, I think the first time she said pronunciation of Olathe or whatever. I was like, I don't think I've ever heard that pronunciation before.
It was like, congratulations on a new one.
If you're not from here, that's the first thought.
Yeah.
That's the first thought.
Well, if you're not from here, the first thing you think is, why are we not in Kansas? But the second thing is, when you look at the cities, you're like, oh yeah, Olathe and everything. I remember telling my dad, I was like, yeah, you're going to be spending a lot of time in Kansas at the Arrowhead Stadium, right? And I was like, they're in Missouri. And there was like a 10-second pause. And he's like, I never knew they played in Missouri. I never knew.
Not for long.
And so did the Royals play there too? It's like right next door. He's like, yeah, I knew they were next door.
So are you off on Fridays normally?
No, I'm
so you're in. Okay, so tonight there's a real chance if it gets bad enough you won't have sports, right? At
well,
6
we
o'clock.
only have one show tonight thanks to the World Baseball Classic.
All right, so that clears that
USA
up.
versus Brazil on Fox 4. Shout out.
There you go.
USA versus Great Britain tomorrow on Fox 4. Shout out. So we'll find a way to have show because we still got to fill out.
I didn't know, if all the meteorologists take over for an hour and a half due to tornado warnings.
Well, if it's a tornado warning, then we're.
That's what I meant. Sorry, that's what I meant.
If it's a tornado warning, we're out, and it doesn't matter. And this is for people that need to know, like, because everybody's like, well, if it's in whatever place in the middle of nowhere, then what does it matter to me?
It's still part of your viewing area.
It's the viewing area. And when they always say 100% chance of rain, that usually means the whole area is going to get rain. But if they say 50%, that means 50% of the area is going to get rain. So you might get rain in Olathe, but you may not get rain in Lee Summit. That's basically what it means. So
have they? So what is? I know what is it supposed to be? Are we getting?
We were like, I think we're like at 80 or 90% today.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, everybody got rain today.
Sure.
Are we going to get hail, tornadoes? We're getting all that stuff.
I mean, the afternoon.
We're counting on you.
Afternoon was supposed to pick up a bit. Tonight, I think it's supposed to start a little overnight. Like 11, 12 o'clock, maybe.
Well, we don't want any tornado warnings overnight. That's really bad.
Don't quote me on that.
We'll play no more mock draft sounders for the rest of this show.
Go to fox4.com or go to your Fox 4 weather app. I've shamelessly plugged. I think I fulfilled my
That's
three
a lot of
shameless
plugs in the first 5 minutes.
I think I fulfilled my 3 shameless plugs, so now I can be like, all right,
you're like
those
Ross
guys.
Tucker levels.
Yeah,
All
right, forget those guys. I'm done.
Let's talk a little bit. We can talk stuff outside of sports too, but I mean, it was a big week because the Chiefs traded Trent McDuffie just for starters.
Yeah.
And look, everybody in the media is sad because he was a great interview and a super cool dude.
Yep.
And so, like, and a great player for that perspective.
Great human being.
Great human being. Hard to lose a player like that.
First thing I thought of was like, man, Ronald McDonald House is going to be ticked.
What?
That's the first thing I thought. I was like, dude,
one thing I hadn't really considered, based on what he had said in this, I do think there was part of Trent McDuffie too that was also happy to be going back to the West Coast. Well, I don't think that's the impetus behind the trade, but I don't think he's like super hurt by the way that this went down either and where he gets to go.
I think everybody saw that partially cut for social media.
Well, the first one was cut
rigorously, and there was no context to that. And I mean, that's the dangers of social media. And I mean, not to shout him out or anything, but the other station that had that post, they basically made sure it was in context. And it was a backpack giveaway in August. So it was like before the season even began. But yeah, I mean, some kid asked him about it. It's like, yeah, I mean, that would be like me saying like, yeah, I'd love to play for the Titans because I'm from Nashville. I'd be close to my family or somewhere. I'd love to play for the, Eagles because of my family. But I think if you ask anybody in the Chiefs locker room, like if you gave the opportunity to go back to your hometown, which you love, and
get
play there forever,
top money,
I'd be like, yeah, sure. So, no, but I mean, from a business perspective, I get it. The haul's good. I mean, you get 4 draft picks, 3 this year, 1 next year, and I think it's just a matter of you got 9 draft picks. Do you want to shuffle up the board, make it 7 or 8, move up, try to move up?
Or do you want to make it 10 or 11 and try to make it like 11, the other?
Move down. Like, there's a lot you can do with 9 picks. There's a flexibility to it, but they cannot miss.
I gotta say though,
that's the thing. That's the biggest thing about it. You can't. Now you put yourself in a situation where you cannot miss.
You and I, and like we talked the whole 4 hours, I think.
And you got some money.
On was it Wednesday? Is that what day the deal went down?
Yeah.
On Wednesday when that deal went down. One of the things I think maybe we should have emphasized more, we can talk about now, which is some of this is their fault. Like we can be like, well, Trent McDuffie wants to make $30 million. Some of the reason is they shouldn't have paid Nick Bolton what they paid him, or they should have paid someone different. Some of the decisions it led to, we can't afford Trent McDuffie, or the contracts they gave out before.
Well, it's the all-in approach, too. It was the all-in approach for when they're trying to go 3-peat.
Well, I mean, you look at that. You look back at that draft class, and clearly they value George Karlaftis, and I get it because that's a premium position. You just can't just grow edge rushers on trees. I think they're going to try to through the draft this year. I mean, we know what they need, and whatever they address in free agency, that gives us an idea of what they're going to address through the draft.
Right.
So, I mean, we're in a holding pattern. Next week is going to really reveal a lot as to what they want to do, how they're going to proceed with that.
Every mock draft will change based off of next week. And kind of what you're saying, for me, defense is still the number one priority in the draft. Defensive line is. But I get the sense the first move we're going to see them make next week is a running back. And whether it's Walker, whether it's ETN, whether it's Algier.
I woke up today to Ricky Scoops.
I know. No. Everybody's pointing to that.
You're not a Ricky Scoops guy?
No, well, I thought he was going to get shut down. Like one of the suits in Fifth Avenue was going to come and strike down. They're going to find them.
They're constantly in search of him.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying he's elusive. I thought they were going to find him. But, I mean, he did throw out Kenneth Walker, and I'm like, I don't know if that's in the price range, but I'm like starting to think about the cuts they've made and
the
money
Karlaftis deal last year first.
Yeah, they made money saved. There still could be some restructurings. Who knows?
I think Walker, ETN end up in Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, I'm leaning more toward ETN, but I would take both, honestly, at this point, if you look at the running back group.
I definitely think.
I mean, you pair that up with Brashad Smith, who I think is still growing into his position. I think you still draft one, and then you pair it up with a good veteran that could be an everyday guy and somebody they can learn under. Then I think you got a pretty solid group.
I just don't think, as much as Algier is a good player, I don't think he can be your number one. I don't, the reason why I wouldn't want to sign him is I feel like I'd have to sign him and another at least mid-tier guy. Maybe not Walker or ETN. At least if they give Walker ETN money, I'm like, okay, that drafted guy, Brashard Smith, that's the room. Versus if it's Algier, it's like, okay, Algier and who? Dobbins, Algier, and who's the guy you're putting him with?
A third-round draft pick. It's Algier and a third-round pick.
I think it's not a third round might not be enough for me. I might want another veteran, I guess.
And I mean, Walker's,
is what I'm saying.
There's a reason why Algier's way cheaper. Nobody's saying he's as good as Kenneth Walker.
Good, but the Broncos probably want him too, and I'm sure there's another team. I mean, there's going to be.
That's the thing. I mean,
if you're talking about a Super Bowl MVP, I'm pretty sure people would love to have that on their roster. And there's going to be he and Kenneth Walker and his agency and his team, I'm sure know. They're looking at the dollar signs. And it's like, all right, I'm a running back. You know my shelf life. I want them dollars. It's like, do you want a Super Bowl MVP on your team or not?
Yeah, it feels like Kenneth Walker is going to end up in this division. It's just whether it's with the Chiefs or it's with the
wouldn't it be cool if the
Broncos.
Chiefs had 2 Super Bowl MVPs on their roster? That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
It's always weird to let it go. By the way, who approved these Great Britain jerseys? They look terrible.
It's very basic.
That's what they were the last go around too, I think. They've kept it very basic in Great Britain. Yeah.
Step your game up.
I'll tell you what, did you see Japan
last night? Got me
overnight, basically.
That sport, and I've been fortunate to go.
I was just looking at that atmosphere.
Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I've been fortunate to go to some,
or
whatever it's called.
Yeah, it's Tokyo Dome.
I've been fortunate to go to some really cool sporting events and be a part of some really great atmospheres from a sporting. That looked all time.
Well, Japan baseball atmospheres. I wish they would bring that over here, because they're so respectful when the team's hitting, and then when they're out in the field, they've got flags, they got
a soccer game,
whatever the version of vuvuzelas is in Japan. I mean, it's crazy. I enjoy the atmosphere alone makes it worth the watch.
It really does because it feels like European soccer.
And then of course Shohei goes off and in the second inning he basically almost has a cycle. So he's an insane. He's an insane.
Where are you at now? As Harold Kuntz is joining us here from Fox 4 as a Fan Club Friday. Brought to you by Jay Rieger & Co. Number 9 overall, as you said, this next week will change the answer. I understand that. But as of right this second, and kind of what you think they're going to do to free agency, what are you sensing at number 9? What do you want them to do at number 9?
I want defensive line.
Same.
I think best available. That's what I think. Because I think they have enough first-round draft picks. You know how they always talk every year. Where's the board? Where do you think? Oh, I got about 18, 20 guys. I got 15, 18 guys that we value as first-round picks. They will definitely be available at 9. And then after that, I think it's free willy. If you like a player, you need to move around some picks. You need to willy-nilly. Because I genuinely believe they've just got to get these picks right. Because you look back at 2022 is a great draft. 2023 is well documented. There's still time that it could come to fruition. Who knows? But for right now, the 2023 draft, and I was discussing this with somebody the other day, the most reliable player right now, the keyword reliable player, Shamari Connor. And that's the most reliable.
I'm a little worried that if they didn't do something about corner.
Because of injuries, people that have, left. Unfortunately, what happened with BJ, guy rest, I hope he's okay.
In fairness, there's only 3 guys on that 2023, only 3 years ago. There's only 3 guys left on the roster.
Yeah.
It's just Felix, Rasheed, and Connor.
Like,
and
the guys that got usually the value picks that got the third day picks, the two of them, I don't think 2 of them even made the team the first year. One got released.
It's hard because
I think that 2026 was kind of like eventually one of these draft classes and everything it's going to lead to a drop off. And that, I mean, when you look at those draft classes, I think that's when you see, okay, that's where it finally met the maker.
We would feel so much different about that draft
from
class
a depth
if
perspective.
Rasheed Rice just didn't get in trouble.
Yeah.
Like if he just stayed out of trouble.
That's why the key word was reliability.
Yeah.
Because at least Shamari, at least he's gained the trust of Spagnuolo, and we may say this, that, or the third about him, but he's been there, he's played, and he's made some plays for sure.
And you'd say, okay, you missed on Felix, but you found your number one wide receiver, so you take the trade off.
But he's got to play.
Yeah.
So
the problem is they coupled it with the year after that, where they found a starting guard instead of a tackle, and Worthy hasn't taken the huge leap forward. And although it's so hard because it's way too early. Last year's I actually feel okay about right now.
I wouldn't feel bad about Worthy, though. I honestly, I think the biggest thing that's going to happen
I think he can take a step forward this year.
Yeah, he can take a step forward, but I think the biggest thing to happen for the receiving room is literally the coach. I think the coach makes the biggest difference.
You didn't think Connor Embry was getting the job done?
I just think they needed a mature adult in the room.
Yeah.
I mean, that's no offense to. I'm just saying, I don't think he was ready for that. He might be ready a few years down the road, but I think he wasn't ready for that position with that personalities just yet. That the guy they do have now is he's a veteran.
I think coaching's a huge part of it. I think coaching's a huge part of it. I think he also, we all know, played with an injury, multiple injuries. It's a massive year 3, but I'm still not out on Worthy. I do wonder.
He gutted it through.
He did.
He gutted it through. So.
Yeah, and I wonder. Right now they only have Worthy, Rice, and Jalen Royals under contract.
Mm-hmm.
We were looking at the wide receiver rooms, and the Chiefs spend the least amount of money on any receiver room right now.
Yeah.
How about Buffalo, who spends the second most amount of money? They spend more than Dallas. They spend more than Minnesota. They spend $3 million less than Cincinnati.
It tells you the efforts that Bean has made to try to get that thing together in Buffalo, and it just has not worked for them.
Do you think the Chiefs are in the?
Isn't it every year, week 13, week 14, we pull out Josh Allen doesn't have enough talent line.
Yeah.
and but I would say the same for. Do
you think the Chiefs need to spend in free agency at wide receiver?
I think whatever you need to do to help 15 is
how to what extent? You're not saying go get Alec Pierce or anything, right? That's too expensive.
Get whoever you can.
So you'd be willing to spend $80 million a year on an Alec Pierce?
The thing is the financials. That's why you want to develop your own talent. That's why Hope Rasheed works and Xavier works and all that. But I'm in favor, and I don't think I sound too out of line saying this. I think I'm in favor of anything that helps Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I hear
the offense. Just the same way when they figured out. They had the easiest. If we go back. If we lose a little perspective, you look back at when they had, Sutton in the defense, and they knew, okay, we need to change up this defense. So they got a good defensive coordinator. And they're like, okay, we're one step away. Let's reload on the defensive line. They got the McDuffies, they got the Karloftis, they got the Sneeds, and it worked. They got the Reed, they got the Matthew. They got the players they needed. They're at the point now where they need a lot of players, but they need a lot of players that they have control of. So they've got to do well in drafting. They got to do well in developing, but they've got to get key pieces of the puzzle that are veterans that are not like the DeAndre Hopkins type veterans. You're here for probably a year. You need one that
you're thinking Mike Evans, Romeo Dobbs.
You need to be part of a team. You need to get a Marquez Valdez-Scantling type player in terms of the years he stays, and maybe hopefully a little more productive. That's what you need. You need a linchpin, if you will. You need somebody that's okay, you're going to be here for 2-3 years minimum. We see you as somebody we can carry through. You need to find that receiver. You need to find that running back. And if you got that level of skill possession, if the financials work, then you got something.
I think that's why I want a wide receiver at 9. I want the wide receiver who's Patrick Mahomes'
I just genuinely
lead
think that's
weapon
available.
for the rest. I want Patrick Mahomes' lead weapon for the rest of his career.
Yeah.
And at 9, that is viable.
Yes.
Between Tate Tyson or Lemon, depending on who your guy is. That's at least a viable possibility that I could find Patrick Mahomes' number 1 target for the rest of his NFL career.
Oh, yeah. They need a guy that can play. It's not like Royals we knew was going to be a development piece, third-day pick. I thought he was pretty good. I thought they actually got great value for him. I thought he'd be maybe a second, third-round guy, but more like a third-round guy. But still, the fact that they got him was pretty good, but I thought that would be more of they clearly used him as a developmental piece. But is he ready to take that next step?
Do you think there's another?
Do they call back Taekwon? I mean, I
think Taekwon. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but like these guys need to take that next step, and I think that next step they weren't taking potentially with the staff they had. I think this time around they'll make it work.
Do you think there's another cut or two?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Or restructure, I guess. Let's put it in that category.
I'm leading restructure.
But, we know Trey Smith or Drew Tranquil could be cut. Everybody talks about how linebacker-wise, whether it's free agency or the draft, you can go get your linebacker. You can go get your linebacker.
We're talking about Drew. We're talking about Leo. I mean, that leaves Nick. Yeah. So it's like, all right, well then, because if you tell me Drew and Leo are going to be gone, then it's like, well, then I know what our priority is.
You drafted a linebacker. You might draft a linebacker at 40. I mean, honestly, there's a real chance. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think the fun of it is you really got to figure out what direction they're going. And I think they spent all that time in Indianapolis thinking, all right, I like this guy, this guy, this guy. I've interviewed this guy, this guy, this guy. We have an idea now that we like these people. We think we can get these people. We think they'll be productive in our system. And now let's get the free agents that we can afford, that we think could be productive, that will stay here and will remain, be productive. And then when it's time for them to, vamonos, we've got these guys and we can build that. Because the Chiefs teams of Super Bowl, they had the depth. Like, they had the depth. When somebody stepped out, you knew they could step in. And this year, I mean, they had so many injuries last year that to the point where it's like, I remember Andy was discussing this, and he was like, I mean, he at one point he said, I mean, for goodness sakes, we're playing Chew Godrich. Like, he said that, he's not supposed to be playing, but he's playing. And it's like, hey, turned out, not terrible. Like, so it's like you were watching this team and you're like, okay, they got to have the depth. And I mean, that means everything. I mean, even offensive line, even though that's the most probably step part of the whole roster, what's the value in not having another good quality swing tackle that played?
They can draft
the
a tackle. I just don't want it at 9 or 29.
Even if it's through draft or it's through free agency. Like, what's the problem in having something that fortifies a line for Patrick Mahomes? Because let's not forget, even though fully confident Mahomes will be, I mean, I'm not going to speak for him, but I believe him. I've seen him enough. We kind of know enough about him to know that he's going to work his butt off to be ready by week 1. And that now, will he be like 100%?
People were making the Tatum comparison because he got back quick.
Yeah, because he got back 10 after the 10 months after the Achilles. So I mean, I could fully believe, and it'll be 9 months after the ACL when he got injured. So I mean, I fully believe he's going to be back. Just because his workout habits, his training habits, how he's going to effort to do it. And I mean, nobody has a bad thing to say about Patrick Mahomes when it comes to the effort he provides and the willingness he provides. Nobody. So and I think that's unquestioned. So I fully expect him to be back, but you got to help him just because you don't want, a guy coming off ACL injury to be in threat of being another guy coming off another one. So you just got to make sure you protect the franchise.
We know that you grew up an Eagles fan and ended up in the Eagles 30 for 30. Of all things. We can talk about that in a minute. Where do you think AJ Brown's going to end up?
I can't believe how many texts I got about that. It was like, I saw you on TV. I'm like, what are you talking about?
He's like, I'm on TV every day.
Yeah, like, what are you talking about? Like, no, but it was people from out of town, so I knew it wasn't that. But I was like, oh, that again? Oh, thanks, great. Thanks. But what was your question? Sorry.
Where's AJ Brown going to go?
Gosh.
He's not staying in Philly, right?
Will he be a Patriot? Will he be a Charger?
I would not be surprised if he still sticks around. But
the dynamic's starting to get real awkward there.
Yeah,
I feel like in Philly.
I mean, maybe because let's remember the reason he ended up on the Eagles is a draft day trade.
Yeah. Yep.
When he got traded from Tennessee.
Yeah, Howie Roseman's not as dumb as the old Titans.
Well, that got 2 people fired.
Yep.
Because they got their GM fired, Ray Carthorne,
awful trade.
And then Vrabel. I distinctly remember Vrabel's look when he heard about that trade. He looked like he was
sick.
I need to leave real quick so I can start going to punch a wall. Get me out of this organization, and sure enough, he is. And I think that AJ has good enough memories of playing in Tennessee with Vrabel that he would gladly go to the Patriots.
Oh, that's the number one option.
And
that's the number one option.
And I think he would do that if the Patriots can get them, because the Patriots, if I'm not mistaken, they have a good little bit of money to work with.
They're a top 5 in cap space.
And it would be AFC, NFC trade, so it's like it's no harm, no foul when it comes to the Eagles. It's not like you're going to have to face them. So, I mean, I could totally see the Patriots. I think that's the only option. I think if he wants to do that, that's great. I just know the Eagles are going to try to stick around with him for sure because they still need some talent there.
What about Max Crosby? He's getting traded too.
Yeah, man, I'd hate to see him in Dallas, but I could see them working that out.
I think they're going to sign Trey.
Chicago. Yeah, I could see them working that out. Chicago, I don't know. I believe more in Dallas than Chicago.
They freed up some money, got an extra pick with the DJ Moore trade.
Yeah, but it's something about if you're going to leave. As much as we like to joke around about the Cowboys, there's still the cachet of saying Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah,
and I think that's still a selling point. And Jerry takes care of his stars. Jerry's always going to take care of his stars.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Michael Parsons
and Glory Holes.
Know what he called him?
Yeah, Michael Parsons.
You called him Michael Parsons. He didn't even know the man's name.
Here's the thing. Jerry's going to take care of your stars as long as you like Jerry.
Yeah,
as long as you like Jerry.
Two-way street.
And if Max likes Jerry and he likes the way things operate over there, then fine. But I think it'll happen. But it's interesting to the Raiders because we obviously know who they're going to pick in the draft. We know their game plan. And I like their coach. I think
Kubiak. Yeah.
I think they got one of the better coaches of this term.
Cycle.
Yeah. I think they got one of the better ones in Kubiak. So it's gonna be interesting what they see how they structure. But if they lose Crosby, their defense is going to be.
Wow, they're 2+ years away from being anything anyway.
Yeah, it's gonna be sliced meat.
Yeah, they got to play the slow game. They have to know it.
They have to.
They're also in the if it's not the West and the North are also very tough on the NFC side.
GM, head coaching consulate, president without actually being president. Tom Brady in charge.
I think he's going to screw the whole thing up. I don't think it's going to work.
Do you think Tom Brady will be more of like a Michael Jordan when he was running the Bobcats?
He's got Alex Guerrero out here telling people he's in charge and they got to report to him.
So basically what we're saying is we're setting the precedent of like Jordan, who's considered a GOAT in basketball, Brady, who's considered a GOAT in football, but they're not going to be GOAT.
That doesn't mean you're a good GM at all.
Jeter, and for base. So we have the Holy Triumvirate. We have Jeter with the Marlins. That did not go well. We have Jordan with the Bobcats /Hornets /Bobcats, whatever Charlotte is. Actually, put some respect on the Hornets. They're actually good now. But back when they were the Bobcats, no. And then he wasn't good, and then we have Brady now.
There's a lot of Elway wasn't good.
GOAT players that are not good at GOAT GM.
They're not just great at everything.
Yeah.
Elway wasn't that great. John Lynch is one of the exceptions.
To be fair, Michael Jordan forgot he wasn't good at basketball GM in his own sport, but he picked NASCAR and he was good at that. So
he is kicking ass in NASCAR.
He's kicking butt in NASCAR.
So I'll give him that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that there haven't been Danny Ainge and Ozzie Newsome and there are guys who and Jerry West. There's guys it works out for, but Tom is just I think he's too eccentric and my way is the only way things can work. And you're like, no, that worked for you.
Yeah.
Not he's still trying to do the same thing Belichick did and every Belichick disciple did trying to leave town, which is let's turn it all the Patriot way. And you're like, no, that was a once.
Yeah.
That was there. That was only there where that all worked and you were all the right attitude and the right talent level. That doesn't just apply universally. That's all.
It's crazy. You do think about the players back in the day and then you're just like, oh yeah, they would have made a great GM. And they're like, nope, terrible. Well, I think Patrick Mahomes is I think he's once or twice said he's really, because he really gets into the draft and everything. He gets into player vals and he's going to obviously let each of them make the decisions, but he's definitely discussed that a time or two. And I could see him, if he wanted, I think the world's his oyster when he, decides to retire, but I could see him stepping into a role where he's very curious about.
I think he's going to own a team. I think he's going to be part of an ownership group.
But ownership. But I could see him being an owner that's a little more hands-on and
like Brady.
Want to be in the draft room for a bit just to get the feel of it. I could totally see him doing that. Yeah.
We've got Harold Kuntz of Fox 4 hanging out with us on a Fan Club Friday, brought to you by Jay Rieger and Co. We'll talk a little baseball on the other side with the Royals, the WBC going on, and Big 12 tournament. The women are playing right now. The men play next week. We'll talk some college hoops. Yeah, we'll find out about that. Harold mentioned something as he walked in the building today, so we'll get to that next.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Bobby Witt Jr., and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
As the seasons change, it's time to prep your HVAC system with a $49 seasonal tune-up from Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter. A tune-up can help save money on your energy bill and help prevent expensive breakdowns. As your local home service experts, everything we do is backed by our exceptional service guarantee. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 five-star reviews adds up to dependable service from neighbors you trust. Visit callhamilton.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions.
I stopped smoking with Mark Patrick's hypnosis when nothing else worked. 1 year later, my wife Michelle and I attended the Mark Patrick Weight Loss Hypnosis Seminar. In 2 months, lost 43 pounds, and she lost 18 pounds.
And we feel great. Join Mark Patrick Hypnosis and lose the weight or stop smoking. Only $59.99 guaranteed or your money back. Hypnosis, Wednesday, April 1st at the Wingate by Wyndham, Kansas City. Formerly Sure Stay Plus by Best Western in Kansas City. Lose weight hypnosis, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis, 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
Eric Clapton. September 17th. T-Mobile Center. With special guest, Jimmy Vaughn. Tickets are on sale now at AXS.com. Don't miss the Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, Eric Clapton.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. Do you feel stupid for buying a timeshare? Don't. It's not your fault. You were most likely told you could rent it, and it was a great financial investment. And the deal was available today only. If this happened to you, contact your resort or Wesley Financial Group for help today.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-939-1441. 800-939-1441.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom! That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from
We can be twinsies
to
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom.
freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. Member FDIC.
Hi, I'm Maria, salon owner. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic, made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
Go to 965thefan.com for your chance to win an X-Family instant ticket, plus a shot at winning 4 Diamond Club seats to the K, all powered by the Kansas Lottery. You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Back here on Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. A Fan Club Friday brought to you by Jay Rieger and Co. We've got Harold Kuntz of Fox 4 hanging out. We were talking during the break, and we'll keep talking about it here.
Jay Rieger out of this?
Well, we've got
I brought some beers and stuff,
Yeah,
but I didn't know
I
if you
know.
could drink because you were working, and then we mix it up. We bring in a Rieger.
do you want
cocktails.
a whiskey cocktail? Do you want whiskey?
No, I can't drink.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I can't.
I'm avoiding alcohol today, just kind of trying to get the.
Trying to get healthy.
As someone in TV, you got to get the voice back.
You're getting your voice back. What, you get the flu too?
I don't know if I had the flu. I got sick earlier.
Oh, I got
the
the
week.
flu, man.
Yeah, I did not have the flu.
Real,
I got the real stuff, man.
I did not have that. I
was sitting
I
around
didn't
like,
feel.
I think I got something.
Yeah, I don't think I had the flu. If it did, it was pretty mild because I didn't feel great Tuesday morning, but then the voice, or Monday morning, the voice
2
went away,
Fridays ago,
so.
I think I called our boss. I was like, I'm out. I genuinely, my legs are shaking.
Yeah,
Something's
I'm not
happening. This
achy.
is
I'm not
good.
achy. Yeah, I'm not achy or anything. But anyway, college basketball. We were talking during the break.
Yeah,
Big 12 tournament, always a fun time. Hopefully the weather cooperates next week for the men's tournament and everything. Women's tournament is going on right now. And the stories out of this so far, and it'll impact next week too, is the court.
Yeah.
And it's this glass floor. You've seen it in person.
Yep.
So is it as cool as it sounds like it's going to be?
So I think everybody's real problem with it was the design from a TV perspective, and it looked like it just wasn't bright enough when you looked at it on TV. But in person, I think it's fantastic. They did make the changes today, where how they had the XII very
Too
much
busy,
and I was kind of told they were going for the Louis Vuitton look.
Oh my God, that's almost I swear to you, that's almost exactly what I said.
And
like the LV logo.
That's what I was told.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
it like the suits like it, but the suits had to listen to the people who said
this is dumb.
This stinks. Because last year, you remember, everybody was like, what is this court design?
Yeah.
And this year was what, again, like you can change it to any court you want with the LED glass court, but you chose the same court design. So they've actually made it much more of a black top, regular looking court, but it's, grayed out, blacked out. And it looks pretty cool. It looks pretty good. It shows well on TV.
Bink texted me this morning at 7 a.m. and said he was concerned because people that sit courtside cannot have drinks. Yes, that's true.
That's the well. You should see the.
Okay, fine. I'll sit courtside even though I can't have a drink.
Well, Alex can drink. He can sit courtside now because he's not drinking. But the maintenance is like really crazy. That's the thing because like during every timeout, they got somebody going out there. They check every tile. They've got like the little curling brooms out there. They check every tile, everything. I mean, if there's something shifting just a bit, they're making sure the maintenance. There's a big crew.
I'm waiting
for this court. There's a pretty decent sized crew. It has to be.
I know they've
15-something people on this crew.
I know they've done their research. They've obviously invested millions of dollars in the technology and everything. The company that makes it. I'm still waiting for like if this ever happens in the NBA. Like imagine like Zion Williamson at his prime weight. Him and 3 players come crashing down. They just bust one of the panels on the floor.
But that's why they do. They have very quick corrections of those panels. Like even like the smallest of wet spots, they have people monitoring it like back. Like it's almost like a replay center. In college or NBA, like they have like a replay center for anything, and they're like, okay, and they can specifically point out this tile's out, this tile's out, and they're like during the 3-minute break or whatever for the under 4, in this case under 5 with women's basketball, they're right out there. They know exactly where to go, get it done. They're out. It's like a pit crew. I mean, it's impressive to watch. It's honestly to me the crew handling it is more impressive than the actual court itself, but a couple things I've noticed is when somebody's shooting free throws, if you'll know, they don't show it on TV, but on the other side of the court for all the fans, they show their stats. They show a graphic of the stats.
Cool.
That makes me feel like I'm in a video game.
So like last night, Keller was playing Kansas, and I think Samaya Nichols at the line, and they're showing, well, she has 9 points so far with 2 rebounds.
That's
like on the other side of the court.
Yeah,
it's
I
pretty
like
sick.
that.
It's pretty sick. And
they show that on the broadcast.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the broadcast doesn't do it justice of like how much they can do with this. And I think they're starting to I think the whole plan was the first round we're going to keep it basic, and each day they've kind of progressed into something a little bit more. I'd like the different court today. It was a little bit more, and the different court had the Oklahoma State logo and the Kansas State logo, and it'll change obviously to the BYU and TCU logos. But they've just progressed and done something. Every day they've done a little something more. The starting lineups are cool. That's the starting lineups when you see the logo at midcourt.
Nice.
Like the Kansas logo, like the Colorado logo. They've got the laser show in blue and red or black and gold for Colorado last night. So, yeah, it really looks cool. I mean, it in person, it does it a lot more justice, I think, than on TV.
Everybody keeps texting in. Someone's going to hack the system and put some.
No, but I'm telling you,
it's no. Also,
there's so much crew.
But it's not even just that. Like Harold, it's not even that. Like that'd be like me saying, "Well, someone's going to hack the video board." It's no different.
Like somebody can hack this radio show.
It's a risk, no matter what.
Yeah, like everybody just assumes because it's like a glass panel and screen and visual. I'm like, what? Someone for years could have hacked into the T-Mobile video board and done the exact same thing up there, and they haven't. So I don't think that's a concern.
No, it's watching the crew is awesome.
While we were in break, by the way, there was big news in college basketball. Caleb Wilson, the star, future lottery pick, I'm pretty sure.
Yep, he's still going to be.
There for
top 5.
Yeah, for North Carolina, he broke his thumb in practice in a non-contact drill,
brutal,
and is now having season-ending surgery, and he'll be done for the rest of the year for North Carolina.
Brutal for them. He'll be fine for NBA-wise. He'll be ready to roll.
How
but
about
for
this
Duke
baseball
game
at bat? We got Jazz Chisholm for Great Britain in a 1-0 Mexico lead. 2 outs, 2 at the corner, 1-2 count.
You're locked in.
How can you not be locked in on this? Like, this is cool. I
love the World
Baseball
Classic.
But I mean, that's unfortunate for Caleb Wilson. I mean, there's a lot of lottery picks. Obviously, there's one playing for KU. We'll see where he gets drafted. It's been interesting watching him play. Like, I'm referring to Darren Peterson. It's been interesting watching him play, and I'm like,
I think it got to him.
I think he's legitimately hurt because it's like you could tell like he's not you can tell he's not 100%. Like, you just tell. Like, he's running out there trying to do things. You can tell he's not 100%. One, you can tell the team is still trying to figure out how to play with him now that they know they have him for the whole game. So, and by the way, it's March. So
what's weird is I thought they had figured that out for like a month straight, and then seemingly forgot how to play with Darren Peterson.
Yeah.
Alex and I both agree. We think that around the time the national news coverage got really loud for him, that got to him
once the Stephen A. Smiths of the world
I
started.
think it got to him a little bit.
That
That's a
got to
normal human reaction for that to happen. But he started playing worse right around then, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, like, I'm sure he has handlers, and it was bad. Did you see what
that Oklahoma State one? That one will look bad no matter any way you spin it.
And did you see Christian Brown? What he said
we played the audio of it earlier
he said,
today.
I had $60,000, and I was like, one, just $60,000, but two, but then again, the way he was recruited, you know, being from here, he wasn't one of those like prize 5-star guys.
But it's true, like
but
if someone hands
$60,000, he's like, I'm walking around the campus like I'm awesome. Someone
hands you $1 million, you're as an 18-year-old kid, is your effort level and give a what going to be as high?
Yeah.
Also, the focus. Look, at any of us, they'd given any of the 21-year-old, me, Alex, or Harold, $60,000 to use in a single year in college that did not need to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Trouble. We'd all been trouble.
Well, in our era, yes.
I mean, you're the king of campus. Every party been a Harris.
Drinks would be on me forever. It reminds me of the great Georgetown story with Dikembe Mutombo. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on air, but whatever.
Go for it.
That's fine.
Yeah, but it was like basically, you know, Georgetown, Mutombo was a king on campus. And Georgetown, if you're not familiar with D.C., is actually a really nice part of D.C., really nice neighborhood. But he goes up there. He just goes to a bar one day, and he's got just women around him. And he just basically flies around $100 bills and says, "Who wants to sex the Mutombo?" Like, just because he's got so much money, he's BMOC on campus. It's like, this is one of the great stories I ever heard when I was in D.C. He's like, "Who wants to sex the Mutombo?" And just like, it's just like that. Like, that's like 80s. College BMOC. Like now, like I mean, I'm not saying anybody's doing something like that now, but like, I mean, all these guys are very well compensated for their college athletic adventures, and the coaches have to navigate it too.
I also think it's why we're allowed to be more critical of them. It was different for me when they were just playing with a scholarship, and I'm pro NIL, and I'm glad they're being paid.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when they weren't being paid, I did. Not kid gloves, but I handled college athletes in the way we talked about college athletes different. They're professionals.
I still distinctly remember when Coleman Hawkins was crying his butt off after K-State season was over, because he was making it was because the problem was they very well much documented. He was like remember for a time when K-State, like Nigel Pack, Coleman Hawkins, they were getting like specific numbers.
Yeah,
they're like Nigel Pack's getting 2 years, $1.2 million.
Yep,
it was Coleman Hawkins getting $2 million, and you're just like, okay, don't put the specific numbers.
We know he's getting paid.
We're getting just give me a ballpark. Like, we're fine. Like, yeah.
Can I ask a question about whether or not you guys believe? Have you guys been following what's been going on with Rashawn Gary? So Rashawn Gary, the talented
Instagram post.
He posted on Instagram that goodbye. When I got the call in 2019, it was one of the greatest moments of my life, etc. Saying he's going to be released, grateful for it all. He has now since deleted that post. And now he is trying to make Green Bay reporters believe that he got hacked.
No.
Ooh.
I'm not kidding. He's trying to claim that'd be the most very intentional hack of all time. They put together the professional photo.
I was about to say that'd be a really good AI photo.
Well, normally
that's a really good AI photo. Did we check for AI?
Normally when somebody hacks you, who was it? Was it Tony that claimed he got hacked? When he was talking, Kadarius Toney?
Oh, the rap thing. I said nobody's worrying about hacking Kadarius Toney. You're not good enough for someone to hack your Instagram.
Rashawn Gary's probably good enough to be hacked, but they're going to hack him just to put up a very professional-looking goodbye post to the Packers?
Yeah,
clearly, he wasn't cut yet.
You got to check that stuff for AI, man.
I think
his agent said, sorry, man, you shouldn't have done that
yet. You have not been cut yet.
Not yet.
Delete the post.
I told you might be getting cut.
You might be. You might. Could you imagine getting that call? It's like, I told you might be getting cut.
It's like, I was going through a tunnel. You said might?
I'm still worried. What is happening? Like, imagine if he's driving. It's like, you're not getting cut. You might get cut. But you're not getting cut. Come on.
I mean, come on. He wasn't hacked, though, right?
No, nobody's buying that. Nobody's buying that at all. But so Rashawn Gary probably will end up being.
We ruined the word hacked, by the way. Because now it's like, I don't believe you, or I'm trying to believe you. I'm like, just someone tell me if you're being like, just tell me the honest goodness truth. Like you can just come out on video if you're really that. I always tell some people this: if you're really that upset about it, get yourself. Everybody got a phone with video on it. Get yourself a little vertical. Be like, hey, just so you know, guys, that wasn't me. I promise. Like I would care to see the authenticity of within 10 minutes, I'm on my phone basically telling you this ain't me.
Immediately, yeah.
Yeah, and I get it. He deleted it pretty quick. And I think it's Rob Demovsky.
Oh, yeah, the Green Bay
He said,
reporter
per
for
source,
ESPN,
Gary has not been told he's being
Yeah.
released or traded. In fact, his Instagram account was hacked.
Yeah.
But that's always the initial, like, I'm sorry, like, here's the problem. Like, it's not his fault necessarily if Gary was the first actual person to be telling the truth about this. But this is boy who cried wolf.
Yeah.
Like 99 straight players and coaches. Oh, they hacked me and liked that. It was who was the former player? It's like, oh, they hacked me and accidentally liked that porn star's Instagram. It had nothing to do with me. Someone got on there and just started liking photos. What? I was looking at, I was trying to like save the children. Somehow that accidentally got liked on my account. It's always some nonsense,
I still
Harold.
can't get over the fact that your age is like, you might be cut.
Yeah. I do kind of like that idea. I do think it's not like from the Chiefs'
shows
perspective.
violence on a Friday morning. Like he's like, you might get cut.
It's not the world's greatest group. I think there are some decent choices for the Chiefs at defensive line.
Absolutely.
I think they've got a good, varied group of inside and outside guys that could work from a defensive line perspective that should strengthen them immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Phillips is the name that's interesting, but $90 million. I don't know if the Chiefs are in that kind of market. I think Franklin Myers, we talked from an interior perspective, maybe that gets it done. The projections for him are not that bad. $10 million a year max. Maybe that's the ballpark Kansas City is in. And then Boye Mafe, we all know the connection. The Chiefs liked him a couple years ago out of the draft. Those are probably the three names, that are intriguing to me in the free
And if we
agent
know
pool.
anything about the Chiefs, they've definitely gone with somebody that they liked. You know, how many times have we heard when somebody came here, it's like, well, when we evaluated them, we liked them in the draft. Yep, they're going to bring them in. So, and I mean, Spags is going to have that type of guys that he wants defensively. I mean, Bieniemy, I'm sure he'll have some people that he wants to bring in offensively. But yeah, I mean, it's good for the Chiefs to know that. Hey, I mean, they know running backs in need. They know, defensive lines in need. Depending upon what they do with Drew and Leo, we'll know linebackers in need. But I mean, there's precedent for all these. If you've been following enough, precedent's like they're probably going to draft a linebacker. Precedent is they might try to get a good, strong veteran defensive lineman, but they're also going to probably try to draft one.
They used to work a year ahead. So is Bossa going to play? Or
they used to work ahead. So you think Bossa's going to step up into that role? They liked him. They think he was a really smart player. They knew he was going to be great on special teams. But when he shifts to more linebacking, then and Bossa and Royals on both sides of the ball really didn't get a real tryout till like the last.
I gotta say,
really a game last game last season.
Sometimes I'm early.
They're still playing the veterans in the Broncos game. So.
Admittedly, sometimes I'm a little too early. I have zero hope of Jalen Royals doing anything as a Chief. Like they would put him on the field in a season that was lost when all their wide receivers were suspended or hurt towards the end of the year when nothing mattered and they could have played anybody. They were even playing Burchard at least a little. And Jalen Royals still couldn't get on the field. I mean, it's just like, it is hard to be like,
I'm still hopeful.
Boy, I really see year two coming now.
Yeah, I'm still hopeful. I'm just saying, like, maybe this is something to do coach unlocks. Maybe, who knows? But, like,
has a wide receiver ever gone from one catch for 2 yards and actually turned into something in year two?
I mean, the fact that he had that much is crazy. I'm just saying, like, you think he could have played a little bit more. But there was something there that they just didn't play him. And I'm like, hey, this year, buddy, you're going to have to play a little bit more.
I think Alex and I have talked about it. I'm convinced that what happened was normally what happens here is like you try to change it up and go to these young players. But because they were so good for so long and relied on these veterans, they actually made a mistake. And what happened was when the season started to go south, instead of exploring other possibilities, exploring other young players, they battened down the hatches. And they were like, oh, no, it's got to be Mike Edwards. We can't have Hicks making mistakes. We got to it's got to be Pennell and Edwards, and we got to shrink this rotation. We got to get the veterans in.
Yeah,
that's how we'll make sure nothing gets screwed up.
That I thought was going to take another step, and then they kind of just, Hicks. They kind of just,
they later in the season were kind of hard on him. So he was making mistakes.
It was I was like, did he just go through a sophomore slump? Or I guess so. Yeah. So it's, training camp is going to be interesting. in the sense that like we're going into this with the most questions I think we've had in quite some time. Like you can remember going to training camp and being like, well, here we go again. All right. Well,
yeah, it's the most intriguing draft we've ever had.
Everything's set, but now I'm like, I think there's competition, with the exception of quarterback, of course. I think there's competition at every spot. I think they're going in, and offensive line. I think there's competition at every spot. I mean, except for like offensive line, quarterback, obviously interior defense with Chris Jones, and Nick. He's going to be your green dot.
But that's it.
But I think everything else is up for grabs. Even you look at the secondary. Let's look at Noel Williams. He's still got to prove it. Christian Fulton is on to prove it because he's on the last year of his deal, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
You assume the UFAs are probably looking for jobs, or maybe they'll come back to compete, but I assume they'll probably be, searching. And then, do they bring a rookie in? How successful can they be? We know they love to get rookies at the back end of the draft with defensive backs and have Dave Merritt go to the school of Dave Merritt. So, I think there's position at everything. I mean, a guy like Jaden Hicks who's got something to prove. Like, they need to get something out of him. I think there's just a lot there that there have some pieces, and no more truer has it been that when they always say, like, hey, our defense may start off like this and we get progress better, the only difference is that a quicker progression or is that a real slow progression to the point where it's week 6, week 7, and we're still like it's not progressed yet.
So it used to be, and that's fine.
Yeah. And
if it means they're playing young players, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. So, a lot of this falls on the coaches too. Like they know they're going to have to do a lot of work in training camp, and it's going to be probably more fundamentals than they'd like. So do it, Get guys who are invested. So, and the one thing about the Chiefs that they don't have any problem is that they can tell people, like, this is a culture, this is a standard that we have. Like, we win here. So
you got to do
what it takes to win. Yeah, do what it takes to win.
I guess that's always interesting about the EB thing is that, and that's what they brought him in. Like the notion being,
if I heard the word accountability one more time,
I know. Look, and I've made this I don't know,
which is fair. I mean, that's what you need. That's what you need.
But know what accountability is. I think the biggest mistake people are going to make is, well, they're going to have less penalties. No, I already gave you the numbers on that, and we've done it a million. They aren't less penalized on those. They might make less mistakes in other areas, but they aren't less penalized. That's never been part of it. At least there. We're both locked in. All three of us are still paying attention to Mexico and Great Britain. Did Venezuela end up winning their game? Is it over yet?
Was that a noon game?
That game started like 10 or 11, yeah.
The most fun about the WBC is like having to be on the 10 o'clock newscast.
Venezuela was up 6-2 in the bottom of the 8th.
Who are they playing?
Netherlands.
Ooh, okay. The Dutch.
Yeah, this is definitely not the Olympics,
Well, this is definitely not the World Cup. If we're talking about the Netherlands.
And definitely not the Winter Olympics.
Don't think of Virgil. Yeah, it's not speed skating in the Winter Olympics. It's not Virgil van Dijk and Cody Gakpo.
Who the hell's even on Netherlands team? Are there any players I know? This is the part that gets me about the WBC.
Well, they used to have Andrew Jones back in the day, but that's all I remember.
Name Bogarts.
Well, Netherlands can get
Ozzy Albies.
Netherlands can get some of the Caribbean guys from the Curacao and all that. And I learned that because
Albies,
of the World Cup.
Yeah, Rafaela.
So they can get some guys. I mean, I don't know about their pitching staff, but I know they can get some guys.
Pitching staff.
A lot of these guys are like former big leaguers who used to be kind of mediocrely decent.
Yeah. So.
But not exactly like household names
so
anymore.
They'll win like the European qualifiers.
Like Kel's 1 for 4, if you were wondering. Salvador Perez 1 for 4 as well.
I saw Luinder Avila.
Is it just hits or doubles or?
Just looks like just
anything
hits.
Anything that would make
a highlight package for a newscast.
Well,
you got USA tonight.
Well, I'm following the World Baseball Classic, so I'm just like I have to make sure that I get mentioned to all these guys. They do something. So, because people are paying attention to this, I think this is
if you want
time.
Luinder Avila pitched 2 innings and was all over the place. Walked 3 guys, but struck out 2. His stuff was
that sounds like fun.
His stuff was moving.
I'm telling you, right now, the best guy locally was the KC Monarchs player that pitched for Australia today.
Did they win?
3 innings, and Australia won. They beat Czechia.
I didn't even know Chechnya played baseball.
After they just beat Chinese Taipei, or as we like to call it, Taiwan.
I like the World Baseball Classic. I really do. And I'm looking forward to it in the Olympics. But this is the difference between like soccer, basketball. Is like I don't actually believe some of these countries legitimately play baseball. So it's like I don't feel like that they have the civic pride in Chechnya for baseball the way I know these other countries do for soccer or for basketball.
Great Britain doesn't play.
Or for hockey. Like I know they genuinely follow these sports, have high-level leagues in these countries, and care about them.
Yeah, that's how they feel about us with soccer.
Italy,
Well,
Italy's not
soccer,
a big baseball country, but they've got, guys.
Yeah.
Like, they got obviously 2 of our guys.
3? No, just 2.
Yeah.
Somebody else got invited.
Does Italy
turned it
play
down.
tonight?
I think
Italy-
everybody's playing today.
Everybody's
isn't it?
playing today?
Or is
Okay.
is that not
Italy's
right?
not till tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
They played
All right.
yesterday, didn't they, or something? Or
They might have played yesterday, but they play Brazil tomorrow.
Just an exhibition or whatever.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So tomorrow
Well, I saw the
afternoon's Italy.
Dominican Republic's exhibitions against Detroit. I mean, whoa. Because they played those in Santo Domingo. My goodness, that crowd was insane. I mean, the Miami crowds are woof.
The U.S. keeps trying to, like, Major League Baseball keeps trying to look for new markets to play baseball games. They should put a game in the Dominican Republic. They want
After
to, like,
that, they just need a better bigger
stadium
stadium.
and resources.
the
But, like,
atmosphere is
Puerto Rico did
awesome.
it, and Puerto Rico's got a stadium that holds like 20. So that works. I think they could do that in the Dominican. And I'll tell you another country that we don't. I mean, I don't know how about the logistics, how they could get there, but Nicaragua is a huge baseball country, and they could play some games there, and they'd sell out easily. And then they obviously play the games in Japan, and we know about those.